various developmental and administrative initiatives. Sir, now over to you. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Kailash. And thank you, my colleague Rajiv Nath, for felicitating us as the chair and the co-chair. Today's session, there are multiple speakers, and the time at hand is very less. So I'll request at the outset to all the speakers to stick to the time. There are, in fact, 8 speakers all put together, although the list shows only 7. And the first speaker will be Mr. Pramod Grover, the Director of National Science Center, Delhi, followed by 3 speakers together, Mr. Manas Bagchi, Director, Central Research and Training Laboratory, along with him, Mr. Arnab Chatterjee, the Director of Birla Industrial and Technological Museum, and Sri Shatadal Ghosh, the Curator at Central Research and Training Laboratory. They will speak together. After that, Mr. Gunaka from Shillong Science Center, the Project Director of Shillong Science Center, will speak, followed by Sri Saket Singh Kaurav, the Project Coordinator of Regional Science Center, Bhopal. And after that, Mr. Shubhashankar will speak. Shubhashankar Ghosh, the Curator of Science City, will speak. Will be the speaker. I'll have a small intervention during that lecture. And the last speaker will be Dr. Piyush Joshi from Regional Science Center, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. So I'll request Mr. Pramod Grover to please take over from here for his lecture.
Thank you, Mr. Anurag. Good morning to all the participants and delegates from the various corners of India. So yesterday we had a complete discussion on technology, how it is helpful for museums. And today I'm just going in depth, right? Technology, integrating technologies into museums, need and challenges. Can you move to the next? Or why do we need technology, right? It's a very basic question, and technology is part and parcel of the museums. You cannot remain isolated. You cannot remain isolated from the technology, but it is your option that how you will use the technology, whether it is showcasing your content or your technology is dominating on the contents. Contents are more important for the museums. So the first is enhancing the visitor experience. Everybody is aware that science museums, we have the participatory exhibits, we have interactive exhibits, right? So in certain areas, we have thematic galleries. So it depends upon your choice how you are going to enhance the visitor experience. You have the accessibility and inclusion. We have a basic motto that museums should be inclusive. It should be inclusive for all the categories, right? So whether you have specially challenged people, right? Or normal people, it should be inclusive to the society. Preservation and documentation. This is an important aspect and being neglected in case of science museums, right? Because art museums have a basic motto that they are there to preserve and collect. But in science museums, we have limited collections. So technology, as far as for science museum is concerned, for this particular aspect is less, but it is very much required for the National Museum, Indian Museum, or Victoria. Engagement with younger audience. Mr. Umesh Kumar was yesterday giving about the various gens, right? Gen from Gen Z. So Gen Z, if you are dealing with, they are totally technology oriented. So you have to have exhibits for the Gen Z. Efficient museum management. Even to manage a museum, you require the technology. Right from managing the staff, you're managing the files which you process, right? You manage the visitors. Everywhere you require technology. So this is for today's generation that they are more oriented with AR, VR. So you need to include those elements and you can enhance the visitor experience by integrating VR and AR into the exhibits. And even these audio guys called as Exibot, they enable interaction for a immersive environment. And now immersive environments are part and parcel of the museums. You cannot remain aloof with the immersive environments. You have the accessibility and inclusion. You adopt various options of the technology which can help your visitor, whether they are challenged with vision, they are challenged with other organs, right? So you make your exhibits accessible to them with the technology. And in this age, like, we are able to replicate the whole museum with the digital technology. And the reason is that you are reaching to the boundaries, you are crossing your boundaries, you are reaching to the other nations. And as NCSM has a tagline, taking science to millions, we can go with taking science to billions, right? Because it's necessary that people should come to you, they should interact with the exhibits, but what about the people staying around the globe? So if you are making your exhibits accessible to them through online platform, you can enhance your visitor footfall. And that is there, but normally we are not keeping track of it. We are only counting the people who are entering into the centers. We are bothered about revenue, we are calculating the revenue, we are fixing the targets, but I think so we don't have a database right now. Even if we calculate all the visitor figures through website of all the centers, we have 26. You have Facebook visitors, you have YouTube visitors, and if you merge, maybe you may be reaching to billions. So preservation and documentation, that is very important. Even it's for science museums, because we have been seeing that sometimes we are working aloof. Like most of the curators are working in the center, but other curators are not aware of what they are doing. So I think even we should have some sort of CMS, that is centralized management system, content management system, where you can store all the projects which you are doing and you can make those accessible to the curators and the other people who require it. And the blockchain technology ensures authenticity and provenance of technology. Now, since I'm talking of the documentation, and this is one of the project called as Architect World Archive. I was part of the one committee of ASI, which DG gave me a chance to participate in that meeting. So it talked about the heritage of Dholavira, right? So here we transform temporary to eternal. You know, this is a storage place in Norway where all these Dholavira digitally scanned images are stored, and it may remain there forever. And such kind of storages, like the media they are using, that is a photosensitive film. So such media, even those are carbon free, like carbon footprints are going to be reduced while we do documentation, while we store the exhibits, because whenever, suppose you have one exhibition, its life is over, at least you store it, document it, and you will be using less carbon footprints. So such system is available for online access. It's not there once you store and you forget. You have the rights, you can access the data from there. So few organizations have stored their important data in this area. Engagement with younger audience, as we have been talking of, they are very tech savvy. So we have to have something for them, a special section for them with AR, VR and everything. And they are normally hooked up to the social media. So definitely we have a good team which is managing our social media and all the centers. Even we have a group where all people post such social media. So then you have efficient management of the museum. So now, as Vijay Shankar was telling about AI yesterday, so now we need to integrate, we need to adopt AI also in the museum management, whether it is a staff or is a visitor. You need to adopt the technology so that it will be helpful either to collect the visitor data or even to manage your staff. Now, it's very simple that you adopt the technology, but challenges are always there because you need a big budget. That is a normal tendency. But sometimes in technology, you need only to implement it and big budget is not required. But in few cases where you have immersive installations, you require big projection system, you require media servers, and you require so many equipments. So what are the challenges we have? So, as I have already discussed that it should be inclusive, user-friendly, that is more important. The technology should not dominate your contents, right? It should be user-friendly. Your technology should be in the back end. Visitors should be able to operate the exhibits or whatsoever facilities are there, but you should use the technology to enhance the content and the visitor experience. So technology needs to be integrated seamlessly. Technology you cannot keep isolated. Technology can be more expensive, and for that you require a trained manpower. You require a complete team which is capable and who is being updated regularly because the technology changes very fast. So these are some of the immersive installations we have been seeing, and you require a huge budget. You require, even if you require to store the content, you have to have a big storage because these contents may require terabytes of space. So you require your manpower who are aware of the technology. I think we need to have some more manpower in this regard because we are not till now developing apps in-house and we are just dependent on outside agencies to develop the apps. You need to take care of the softwares, so you should be bothered about their licenses are perpetual, whether yearly. So such processes increases the cost, and technology evolves regular updation. Almost digital technology is a thumb rule we are facing that every 5 to 7 years you need to change the technology, but availability of fund matters. So naturally, whenever we want repeat visitors, we want that technology should be upgraded because if they see the same thing every time, you may not have the repeat visitors. Technical expertise, like we have in NCSM, we have people who are curators in computer science, but we should have a wing which are totally technology savvy. In the young generation, we have people who are good in managing the networks, right? Like even we are going to implement the e-office that is part of the technology. So you should have manpower resources to manage everything. Data management, like I was talking about content management system because that is very important. You need to preserve your exhibits, you need to preserve your gallery, and you need to give access to the curators and others. So developing a content management system is very important. It's not for even documentation. It is there for even the everyday problems we are facing. Like whenever we develop exhibits, now all are technology based. You have computers, you have projectors. it takes so much of time to switch on these exhibits, and it's a regular affair that you require 1 hour to switch on, you require 1 hour to switch off. So it's a big problem. So even what you can do is with the help of content management system, you can make these exhibits turn on and turn off automatically. क्या कर रहा है? एक बार दोबारा चलाइए उसको. ये आगे पीछे दोनों से ही ये पीछे नहीं हो रहा है ना क्या? नीचे वाला है. Right, you should have people, or even we, though we have our own people, we have a lab where Manesh is heading, and even earlier I was heading that Central Research and Training Laboratory. Now it is a time to enhance the even manpower as well as the technology for the lab. Because we don't have in-house manpower to have even we don't have the equipment to have 3D scanning, and we don't have the people who are expert in these areas. Right, websites are integrated part of the museums, and your website should be quite good and engaging and with the latest technology. Even for website, you require some sort of management, and some guidelines are there, and those must be followed for all the government websites. So as I was discussing, we have our Central Research and Training Laboratory, and they normally organize a lot of trainings, but we should focus on some of the areas like they should be given training on the latest technology. Even there are some online courses, we should encourage staff to get enrolled in those online platforms there where they can learn. It's a self-learning. It's not there that every time office will arrange a training, they will have manpower resources from other. Even we can also learn. So we should encourage staff to learn on the online platforms. And continuous learning and evaluation, that is very much required. We should assess our strengths and weaknesses, and accordingly we should update. Now, data security is another challenge, because through our online ticketing system and through other areas, we have been collecting the visitor information, but how we should secure it, because we should not have complaints from the visitors that through your museum such data breach has happened. You require security of interactive and smart exhibits, because when you give an online platform, you give hackers to give a chance to play with your exhibits, to modify your exhibits, so that time you should have that security. You should have compliance with the legal platform, staff training, implementing secure technologies, and we should have regular security audits in such areas. Now, this is another challenge, because when you have staff who is working there with you for quite a long time, so they have a resistance to change, right? They don't want to learn the new technology. So now technology obsolescence, we know that technology has a limited life. That is a business strategy, because whenever we have seen the smartphones, how they have evolved. Every 2 years, the smartphones are changing. So you need to have backup of whatever you have, because when the technology changes, even your content and everything should be backed up, and then it should evolve with the new technology.
Grover sir, you need to wrap up.
Sure. There was a lot to discuss, but only few cases I will discuss. Because since right now I'm in Delhi, but I have spent my 25 years in Science City, and I've seen closely how it was difficult because Science City, being a self-sustained organization that time, recently has started getting salaries. So it was a challenge for us to update and remain relevant to the society. So this time machine, this is a simulator. It was installed in 1997. So many challenges we faced because the system which came, that company just winded up, and then we maintained in-house. There was a technology for exhibiting the video that is old technology, not available now, CRV player. Luckily in CRTL we had one, and we could store the backup, and we could sustain this time machine up to 2016. Space Theater, this was a technology, latest technology that time in 1997. Right, this is the simulator which was there. It was there in 1997, and in 2019 we could change it to a other technology. But definitely it required lot of time, at least 20 years, or maybe more than 20 years, but you require a fund. So that time DG was there in Science City as director. So that time we got lot of fund from the ministry. It was about 41 crores, and with that we could update these technologies. This was a dome which was established in 1997, and since we have to remain relevant, it was upgraded to a 3D dome, which was the latest technology available when we started tendering the process, That was in the year 2017, and we could update it in 2019. But again, after 6 years, now this is again looking for a change. It's again looking for a fund which may be of the tune of about 8 to 10 crores, right? So in the 19, we have spent about 16, 17 crore on this technology, and after 6 years a gap, we again need a fund. And right now, since we were lucky that with the initiative of DG NCSM, that ministry has given the Science City the salary portion which they were not getting. So now this fund is available, now we need to upgrade it. This facility was set up in 2001 in Science City, and it remained with us up to 2016. Then again, with the availability of fund, this was changed to a dark ride experience in 2016. And digital panorama, this is also one of the immersive experience Science City is having. And for this, even I remember Dr. Jilani had a quite good contribution, because myself, Dr. Jilani and Mr. Murli, this project was taken up under the guidance of Director Science City. That time Mr. A.D. Chaudhary was Director Science City. So now even this panorama is facing the problem, and we need to change the technology, because that time we used the best available projectors, and those were xenon arc lamps with a 20,000 ANSI lumens. But now we need to have RGB laser, which is the latest technology. So in Delhi, just recently we had a gallery inaugurated on digital world. Now what problems I am facing is that these technologies, because since the word itself is digital world, you cannot remain isolated from the technology. You have to use the technology. But you require a manpower every time. Whenever you have a VR experience, you require a manpower. And I remember during COVID period, the hygiene and sanitization was so important. We just stopped these facilities like the 3D and all. So this is very important, that whenever you're using such technologies, hygiene should be taken care of. You require the manpower, and you require a constant updation. So this is the conclusion, that we are here with the technology. We cannot remain isolated with the technology, but the use of technology is in your hands. You must be the master. Technology should not guide you. You should be able to choose the technology for you, and contents are more important. We should emphasize on the contents, not on the technology. The intricacies of the technology should be hidden from the visitors. It should be user-friendly. Your exhibit should be more immersive by using the technology, but they should not create a barrier for people who cannot use the technology. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Grover, for the very informative lecture. As rightly pointed out, technology at times becomes a white elephant. So before you demand for technology-based exhibitions in your own center, you should be ready to, feed the white elephant, as he mentioned in case of Science City. Science City is fortunate to have enough funds, but not all centers do have funds. Yeah, with this, I would like to continue with the tradition that was started by Mr. Parikh yesterday. But the only thing is that I would request you to just mention in your local language, in your mother tongue, a takeaway that you would like to take from this conference.
अनुराग जी, अब मेरी मदर टंग पंजाबी है, लेकिन मैं बंगाल में 27 साल हूँ, तो मैं बंगाली में भी बोल सकता हूँ. इसमें आई कैन.
तो since you have spoken about Science City, you can talk in Bengali.
सब डेलीगेट्स ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੇਰਾ ਬਹੁਤ-ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਜੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਓਪਰਚ्युनिटी ਦਿੱਤੀ. ਔਰ ਮੇਰੀ ਜੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜੈਂਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਸੀ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਇਨ ਮਿਊਜ਼ੀਅਮਸ, ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਟੇਕ ਅਵੇ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਹਾਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ, ਟੈਕਨੋਲੋਜੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਐਗਜ਼ਿਬਿਟਸ ਦੀ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਵਧਾਉਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ. In Bengali, I will talk now. Those who are here in Bengali, they'll be able to understand. আমাদের দেখতে হবে কি টেকনোলজি আমরা কিভাবে ইউজ করছি, আর আমাদের বাজেটে নিয়ে আমাদের টেকনোলজি চুজ করতে হবে. हमको देखना है टेक्नोलॉजी का जो यूज़ है वो हमारे विजिटर्स के हित में होना चाहिए. धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Mr. Grover. A big hand for him for his lecture. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now I'll request Mr. Manas Bagchi, Director, Central Research and Training Laboratory, along with Mr. Arnab Chatterjee, Director, Birla Industrial and Technological Museum, and Mr. Shatadal Ghosh, the Curator at Central Research and Training Laboratory, to give their presentation. And since we are combining the two lectures, this will be a little lengthy lecture for the audience, and I hope that the team keeps them engaging because they are the people who are actually working on the digital technology at NCSM. The three brightest brains on digital technology in NCSM.
Good morning, everybody. We propose to present our case as a team of three and promise to finish within the time given to two of us. So let's try. Yesterday, we were delighted to know that we curators are now infructuous because from now on, open source AI tools with the help of crowdsourcing will design all galleries in 15 minutes and those galleries will shrink and expand with our dancing hand gestures. But then thanks to Alan Turing, good senses ultimately prevailed when Vijay and Grover finally showed some ray of hope when they offered that if, as the curators, we learn to use AI, then maybe, just maybe, we can perhaps still be around for a few more years before we become once upon a time there used to be a curator. Yesterday I was also thinking that all our movies from now on will become Tom and Jerry or Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Shrek, and we can completely dispense with Amitabh Bachchan's and Rekha's or Deepika and Nasiruddin, and maybe Ramesh Sippy and Satyajit Ray will humbly give way to the crowd that will make the next best Oscar or national award-winning movie. In just 2 minutes, guys, just 2 minutes. Well, but we wish to create a science museum class exhibition to know how Galileo was able to discover the movements of the Galilean moons or draw the moon craters with a telescope so heavy without a mounting system and with so narrow FOV, field of view. I go to science centers to find out why on re-entry the space shuttle gets cracks on its surfaces. Prompt engineering cannot deliver this till now. Yes, we can design nice synthetic images with DALL-E or Jenny or Genie or whatever, but believe me, I'll be 60 in a few more months, but I know that it's possible, it can be done. Yet they are all mediocre options. The museum class efficacy will still be designed by some scientist, by some architect, by some artist, as we see here. So it's still some more time. And those who think that only 30 minuses with some open source AI tools, 15 minutes, 2 minutes, will rule the roost from now on, for them I have two lines. We think our fathers fools, so wise we grow. Our wiser sons will no doubt think us so. Alexander Pope, an organically intelligent poet, no AI involved. Ball bouncing of walls is a trivial game that can be generated in minutes. But when I want a digital dissection table of a human being, it is not AI, but the Y, the organic intelligence, which helps to collect the data, does the analytics, design the user interface, and evolves it further. It takes time, money, passion, patience, intelligence, and involvement. That is still not possible just by writing a few lines of prompt. So I propose that in making museums, we need to think beyond digital, going beyond the AI. That is a post-digital era probably we should be thinking of. And I would like to present a few field cases as we do it in our council. Before that, just 2 points. Very recently, Smithsonian did a study to find out how long do we spend every day on our screens. We have personal screens, we have social screens, we have entertainment screens, we have professional screens, and it says that you spend almost 7 hours per day on your screen. And then you come to the museum and we present yourself with, once again, 10 or 12 or 30 or 50 screens. And then my second question was, I was trying to find out studies. Have anyone followed up? How long does it take to get screen fatigued? There is a principle which says, after you use 20 minutes of screen, give a 20 seconds break at least, if not 1 minute or 5 minutes, and then get back for another 20 minutes or so. So 20 minutes I take as the sufficient time to get screen fatigued. It happens. So our proposition is, before going to involve only displays and displays and displays and displays by using technology, rather think of the technology where it should not prominently present itself, where it can be placed to the back door to serve us on the backstage and the content takes the front stage. I present one case study. We created one exhibition that is called The Peaceful Explosion. Now, peaceful and explosion doesn't go together. What is the thing? The point was, when the Second World War was going on, it was not taking any science to complete it, to conclude it. And then there was a team in US, team of scientists, team of administrators. They decided what to do, what we should do. Before that, US was not directly into the war. But when they came in, Oppenheimer proposed that we must do something shocking. Without that, no war ever ends. All the parties must be shocked before they cease to continue the war anymore. So he said that we must have an atomic explosion, which will be the best guarantee for the peace. And he coined the term peaceful explosion. Now this peaceful explosion, we thought after seeing Oppenheimer made a big media noise, and we thought that that story lacked the real sense of history in many places, and it also lacked the intricacies of technology that was involved. So we wanted to create one exhibition. But how do we do that exhibition? If we do it on the digital media, screens again. If we do it on our standard thyma structures and other structures, it takes time, very long time, and it also takes a lot of effort. It becomes permanent. So we thought that we'll create one pop-up type of exhibition. You use very cheap, very common items and generate one exhibition very quickly. So we decided to make it also green, because the atomic explosion perhaps is the biggest threat that one can have to the world and one can have to the environment. So we thought that we must create this exhibition with materials. Those are absolutely green. Can I have a glass of water, please, if possible? Well, so this was the pattern of the exhibition. You can see the material is completely different. There is no frame, and I'll come how we came to this choice of these materials. If you look at it, if you look at this exhibition, you'll hardly see any digital intervention. It will appear as a very traditional exhibition without anything digital much, only excepting a few screens here and there where we had to present the historical videos, some historical interviews, some historical points. Nothing more than that. So what happens is, do you think that this exhibition is not digital? It is. The digital technology is here, and it is everywhere on the background of this exhibition. I will explain how. We first decided about the material. We thought that we will use cardboards. But when we went to create the exhibition with the help of cardboard, this is a timeline that we created of the cardboards. We initially thought that we will use the carton boxes that we get from all the places. But then we found out it did not have enough stability. So we had to find out honeycomb boards. And these honeycomb boards, they too were not that strong. So we had to make some more arrangements in it. We created one complete assembly digitally. I'll show you how it was, how the digital assembly plan was done. Each component was designed separately, and it was placed in such a way so that the whole thing can be assembled together and given one self-standing attachment. It becomes the exhibition stand altogether. And the honeycomb board is a pitchboard kind of surface on which we are not using the vinyl, because we decided not to use polyvinyls and all that. So what happened is we had to print on it. How would you print? We decided that we will go with the digital creation of the complete artifacts that will be printed with the help of UV printers, UV flatbed printers. So we printed the whole artwork on a complete 8x4 or 8x8 sheet, all at a time. But to do that, it was digital. It was the technology working all the time. It was the machines working all the time. But when finally the structure came out, the digital technology was not to be seen at all. It was completely relegated to the background. We started with this one. It is called Genbaku Dome. This Genbaku Dome actually is still preserved in Japan, in Hiroshima. It was the commercial building of Hiroshima. And that was bombed. And after the bomb, it was completely shattered and dilapidated. But they have preserved it. They have preserved it as the symbol of destruction and also as the symbol of hope. Why it's a destruction, that's very apparent to see. It was completely destabilized. And we decided, we thought that can we show them, can we show the people how it was before it was completely, to a large extent destroyed. So what we did is, I'll go back just a few slides where we began, and you can see how it was. That was it. The original structure as it is now was shown there, and we drew an outline. If you see through this outline, you will exactly see how it was before the destruction happened. But when we did that, we found that matching the scale, matching the perspective, matching the height and width of the actual structure that is still present there with something that can be created is extremely difficult. we had to take the help of technology, that is AI initially, and then other digital manipulations that were required to create this structure. Well, but when you see through it, you don't see the computer, you don't see it at all. Then the storytelling. All these things, all these artifacts were created. They were illustrations, not a single thing taken from any other source, because these images do not exactly exist in this form, and how context and content guided us about the particular presentation of the artifact. Here, Robert Oppenheimer and Leslie Groves, they are together. They became the closest of friends, one scientist and one army personnel. But Groves says in one place that Oppenheimer is a person who has the strongest piercing eyes. I have not seen any more stronger eye which can see through my eye to my heart almost. Every time I look at him, I get scared. I feel he can read my mind altogether. So we thought that this impression, this overarching personality of Robert Oppenheimer should be presented. So we made his eyes blue. We made him appear like this, a little ghostly, as if he is looking at you and he is reading your mind as well. Once again, the digital technology helps us to selectively change portions of the artifact that we are creating digitally on board. Secondly, this very famous people who were the architect of the first Chicago pile, the first working nuclear reactor. Now, this image does not exist. We know that all these people worked together, but no one took the photograph because they did not know that this thing is going to be big in future in another 30, 40 years of time. So we created all of them and then generated this group photo with the help of AI, but nowhere it is written that AI, give a hand gesture, and lo and behold, it comes. And then the last one, that image actually shows Leo Szilard, an Italian nuclear scientist, who in 1934, much before the actual Manhattan Project started, thought of one particular scenario. He was walking on the roads of London and looked at the crowd there and thought, when one person pushes another, that person can push two of the front row, and then the chain reaction starts. It becomes a huge explosion perhaps. And he patented the idea of chain reaction from this road in 1934, when no one thought about the atomic explosion at all. Now, where do I get the road of 1934? Exactly in a condition where Leo Szilard is crossing the zebra and looking at the crowd. Does it really exist? We don't know. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in photographic representation. But in Szilard's diary, it is there. So we take the help of AI to generate this scenario. That background of 1931 London Road, I don't know whether it is exactly like that, but I can still communicate my story. So the creation of this story, even though it is not authenticated by its exact physical presence, it is authenticated by the historical document that Szilard created in his diary. Then comes situations where sometimes you have to create the history. And how is that? And sometimes you have to create the story. This is the first Chicago pile. And once again, Fermi writes in his notebook that this Chicago pile was being built. He was standing somewhere here on the railing, and he was telling people how many numbers of moderator rods are to be pushed in. And when that was going on, they all were together, and the giant even was a toddler once, you know, when for the first time the reactor worked. It worked for 28 long minutes. That was a huge rejuvenation. And you know how much energy did it produce? Half watt. So that was the beginning. The first nuclear reactor in its first successful run could produce half watts of energy. Now that scenario we created, taking the help of AI first, and then once again converted it to a hand-drawn illustration. On the second one, it was once again taken from the diary of the person, the pilot who actually bombed Hiroshima. He said, I was told not to look back after the explosion, but I could not resist myself. I did look back, and when I looked back and saw what was happening there, I said, oh my God, what have we done? Now this feeling with this explosion, no one took the image and picture from the sky, so we had to create it. We had to take the help of digital technology once again. Probably without this technology, this story could never be physically presented any further. Now, yes, we do use AI. We do use AI to create scenarios where the Pearl Harbor is being bombed. But we do not overdo to create a scenario where we wanted to communicate a particular idea, that when we had the technology to individually manipulate the nucleus of each atom, we could get this power in our hands. It was as if like the hand of God that we could control the energy and power of the atom. We painted it. We hired one artist to paint it. So it's exactly how Grover was talking about. It must be a judicious use where we go for the technology and where we restrain and control ourselves to go for the traditional ones. I come to the end of this phase where we show that these two bombs were bombed, exactly the position, and you know these illustrations were created using digital methods, but nothing else. Here it is not very different from others, but here it is. When the actual explosion is happening, the description says Oppenheimer was looking at it straight forward and he said, now I am become death, the destroyer of the world. He quoted from Gita. But how do I present it? Our visualization was this, that as if he is a larger-than-life character looking at this explosion and standing in a posture who almost thinks in his mind that he is now the God who has got the control over the world. So this was once again created by AI, but touched by human being, so that our peace of mind goes into the algorithms of the technology. And then finally, we got this story that when after the explosion, a year passed over in 1946, people thought that the Genbaku Dome, I said that it's also the symbol of hope. When people thought that the Genbaku Dome and the adjunct area will never be explored once again, no human being or no life can be possible there, one journalist went there and took this photograph, one oleander flower. I can't pronounce the Japanese for it. It is something like Kyuchituko or something like that, I can't pronounce. But that oleander flower, he found that the colorful oleander flower came again. So it was a conscious decision in designing this exhibition that we'll design it mostly through black and white scenarios. Only where it comes to the question of life springing up again, we'll use the tint of color. And there he found this. He published it on the newspaper, and people started once again going into that area. The whole city was revived again. Life cannot be ignored that way. No matter what is the technology, whatever the inanimate thing at our hand, ultimately it is the life we will look for. During our COVID experiences, we knew how much we longed to meet each other. Our whole civilization is based on contact. So probably AI or no AI, we are going to use it as a tool, but we are probably not going to replace ourselves so easily. Finally, I will end up this one with another story that really happened, and we could not manage it without the digital intervention. One evening, I was sitting in my room, and I got a call from the Director General of Tourism from Ministry of Tourism, and I was told that within 4 days' time, we have to reconstruct this exhibition and install it in the Red Fort of Delhi. Now, how do we do that? Even transportation would be impossible. I asked DG sir, sir, are we going to comply? And he said, give it a try. We never go back. So try and do whatever is possible. We'll do that. What we had to do, we transformed the whole digital content and sent it to Delhi so that if necessary, even Grover helped us that way, that he will give people, he will give means, we will have the material there, reconstruct the whole exhibition if necessary, and we will install it. It was ultimately not required, but it was possible. It was given a thought, and we were ready with it. Without the digital technology, we could not think of this scenario. So that was done. But there are many other aspects that we need to consider of the technology.
Just a note of caution, Manas.
Yeah, I'll just quickly
you've
pass
crossed
over.
25 minutes.
Huh?
25 minutes are over, so you're left with
Yeah,
15
we must
minutes.
get 40 because we
Yeah.
are presenting too.
So,
So I'll call
you have
upon
crossed halfway.
the director, BITM, Arnab Chatterjee, who will show how we use the immersive technologies in dome projections.
Thank you, Manustha. Very good morning to one and all. It was the month of August. In the year of 2023, I was having the charge of Raman Science Center and Planetarium Nagpur. One fine morning, I stepped into my office and found a long queue of around 200 kids, mostly school kids, standing in front of the planetarium, hoping to see a planetarium show. The show was obviously not running. So I had to rush onto the projection room and found two of the projectors in a 4-projector-based digital planetarium system. Two of them are just dead. I started calling the OEMs, the representatives here in India, and found that both the projectors, and in fact all the projectors have become obsolete. Not even their spare parts are available in the market. That way the system was a hybrid system. It had both an optomechanical system, optomechanical projector, and a digital projector as well. Because of aging, the optomechanical system stopped working long back, and the digital projector being defunct, as on a moment, I didn't have any other option but to stop the shows right away. It was the month of, as I said, it was the month of August, and sooner or later we're going to have 15th of August. So huge footfall we are expecting, and a huge loss of revenue, because most of the visitors they visited at that time is for the planetarium shows. So left with no other option but to design something on our own. I started tinkering with the idea of how we can design a planetarium right from the scratch. You may see from the map, you can see it very well, that we have around 10 centers working under the aegis of our council, and where we have planetaria. And unfortunately, whenever I visited some of the centers, where many of the places we found that either the technology was provided by a foreign OEM through their Indian representative, and in most of the cases for a technology change or an upgradation, we had to drastically depend on the foreign OEM. And it led to huge expenditure, downtime, and sometimes dependencies that we shouldn't have. So we moved forward and started started toiling with the idea with the projectors, projecting on a full dome screen and all other things. Now the problem is that, as I said, where lies the big deal? Thing is that a projector inherently is designed to project on a flat screen. But in a dome, the challenge is that the screen is carved in both the ways, both the directions, the X and the Y. So that is the first thing. Second thing is that we have, a single projector cannot cover a complete dome. There are technologies, of course, with FISA lens and other things, but when the dome gets much bigger than the respective intensity of the projector itself, it becomes really very difficult to cover it with a single projector. So we had to go for multiple projectors, and whenever you are trying to cover a single dome with multiple projectors, there are spaces of overlaps, and you have to use some kind of merging or warping or blending software that can seamlessly blend all those projectors to create a single dome type of projection. We started working with that. That is the first thing. So how big is your dome used to play a big role. In our case, the dome that I was working with at Nagpur, it was a 11-meter dome, and of course, a single projector could hardly cover the entire dome, and I didn't have one such. So what I had to do, I initially thought of 4 projectors, 3 on the peripheries and 1 on the zenith, and so we started working with 4 of them. Next thing is that the server and the computer, when you are going to connect all the 4 projectors to a single server, you should be very much capable, the server should be very much capable of producing the graphics in a jitterlessly. There shouldn't be any jerk in the video played back, there shouldn't be any jerk in the content. So be it a single content played on the dome, or a live simulation like a software from Stellarium and other things, the content has to be played back in a seamless way, in a jerk-free way. So that is the second thing. So the second crucial part was selecting the computer and other things, the server and other things. Then just before I pointed out, it was the mapping and warping software. Then what we are going to play back there is the content. That is once again taking a clue from what all my 4 speakers have mentioned. The technology should be at the backstage, the content should be at the forefront, so that people can get to enjoy the content, not the technology, because we all know what technology plays a role in our life today. So that is the content, which is a very crucial part. The next one is the planetarium software. Most of the cases, what we have noticed, that we play back contents in the form of a video, kind of documentary, but we do not give any kind of live demonstration. For example, that was a dire need of the situation, because many a times people do come in and they have asked for, you are showing a planetarium, where is the planetarium? How you are demonstrating your planetarium? We shouldn't say it's just a movie and watch it and step out. It shouldn't be like that. So that was another philosophy behind interfacing a planetarium software with a newly designed system. So that is one thing. And of course, we have the audio system, the Cove Light, and other peripherals. Some of the uncompromisable features, if you look at, it is first the screen resolution and the DPI. The default Windows DPI is 72, and in cases it is 96. Since we are trying to, at the first attempt we tried wrapping up the Windows system on our dome, we couldn't go beyond that, and the screen resolution, it was a requirement of 4K at least, and the edge blending and warping capabilities of the projector, sometimes they play a crucial role, and sometimes they play an advantageous role as well. The brightness and the contrast, about brightness it is fine, bigger the dome you need to have a brighter projector, but about contrast, that is a vital part we should talk about. The thing is that there are 2 types of contrast. One is a dynamic contrast and one is a static contrast. When you call about, most of the cases, the projector manufacturers, they mention dynamic contrast, some 20 lakhs or very fuzzy figures. But if you take a look at the static contrast, that is what plays the crucial role. How tiny, how crisp your stars are going to get projected on the screen, that depends on the static contrast. Then the color accuracy, frame rate of the system, and several other things are there. I'm not going into the detail of that. So these are the things I think one should take care of while designing one such indigenous system. Now the final part where we were a bit stuck up while designing that entire system is the blending software. We had a couple of options in our hand, but the costlier the system, the costlier the software, it is more user friendly as usual. So we started, since we had a little crunch in budget, we had to start with Immersive Pro, which is the software is a bit easy. It's not a bit easy to handle, but it is very cheap. So, but otherwise, we can always use Vuozo and Screenberry. Right now, we are developing systems with Screenberry and other things. Of course, for customizable solutions, we can also have a solution like, we also have a software like Full Dome Pro and other things. But the problem with Full Dome Pro is that they prefer the server of their own to be used, which we do not prefer. We always prefer to have, one of the philosophy behind designing one such a system of our indigenous system is that the control of the entire hardware and software should be in our hands, so that whenever it goes down, it is going to be a matter of changing the server, the projectors and all, whatever goes wrong, and then starting the show within a few hours. So with that, I'm going to show you very quickly a few slides where it shows the interface of the Viozo, the software that we are using right now. And these are the few things these are the few screenshots while configuring the entire dome. You can see how masking is done. You can see how the scanning is done. You can see how noise is removed from the before scanning, how scanning is done and all. How a good scan used to look like, and when the entire scanning is done, we used to see a complete screen like that. You can see this one, the Viozo written over there. So it's a little out of aspect. So we are seeing a stretched vision over here, a stretched image over here. So when you come to see this Viozo thing, that is where we were stuck up once again for a few days, because I was under the notion that the Windows is going to get wrapped, I mean the desktop that we used to see will be wrapped up on a dome screen, which will never happen. So it took us some time to understand that no, this is just an interface. We have to push our video, our content through some other software interface to this particular interface, and then this will be demonstrated, this will be showcased on the screen right out there. So these are the screenshots, I mean the screens of final tuning and other things. And with all that, ultimately we come up to a, you can see on the right side, oh, it's not visible right out here. So yeah, we get to project a video, a content on the screen, on a full dome screen, and we could even showcase softwares like Stellarium and all. As you can see over here, you can see how all the different projectors are projecting the 4 screens, and they get merged. You can see on the edges those of the blending, color blended pictures. I have taken these pictures specifically to show you that it is basically 4 different projectors. They are projecting on the dome individually, and then the entire thing gets merged together to form a single image. So what are the ongoing developments? I'm really happy to inform you that one of the biggest challenge for us was the black label compensation. So let me tell you very quickly what is black label compensation. Whenever you are projecting some video content on a dome, if it is not a very black screen, it doesn't create much of a difference. But whenever it's a purely jet black screen with some stars and other things, the overlap portion of the projectors, they create a kind of different shades, and that is where that shade need to be tuned properly so that it shows even in a pitch black and dark screen, it shows you the entire black screen. So just 2 minutes, I'm at the end. So that is the black label.
One more speaker to go.
So we started working on that, on the black label compensation and all. There are several approaches, both with the software and hardware, and we are on the brink of, we have explored all the possibilities, and that is one thing. Then the possibility of utilizing separate hardware and software mask, stereoscopic projection on the dome, possibility of interfacing and integrating optomechanical system with the digital system, and several third-party softwares that we can use for the planetarium shows as well. So I hope in a very short time we'll be able to, we are in fact on the edge of exploring all these things, and very soon we'll be able to come up with an idea to, come up with a solution to shoot out all these issues. Thank you very much. Over to Manusda.
Thank you very much, Arnab. I have just been informed by the coordinator of the program that one speaker in the next session is not turning up. So I beg for another 15 minutes from you. Okay. So I'll just take 1 minute to call upon stage Mr. Shatadal Ghosh, who is the head of electronics at our place, and he is taking charge of various sort of digital interventions. But those are mainly guided in 3 different sorts of objectives. One is the display research, where we develop generic technology to fit in common problems of the museums. Sometimes we see that we need to tell timeline stories. we see that we need to tell some stories where we go in depth into one topic and come out of it. So it's a kind of zoom in and zoom out sort of metaphor that can be used. So similarly, we try to develop generic technologies where stories can fit in. Then we do the content research in such a way where the content is created in a manner that can fit into different type of specialized technology that we can either develop or we already have. And then there is a third option where we try to find out what is the next big tech that we can convert into an import substitution. We can develop the product. These three are the main lines of work that we follow in CITL, but to detail it, Shatadal.
Thank you, sir. So, as we know, sir told that we work on display technology development. So, for this display technology development, here I am showing one example that is we call magic lens. So, what happens is that when you put some white paper or white material on a black surface, here you see the projection comes only on that portion. So, that gives a dynamic impression. Now, why it is why we have created it like that? Because again it is to reduce the digital impact of the screen. So whenever it is required, we just only then project the content, and whenever it is it can be physical, we kept it free. So instead of full digital screen, we can convert it into the miniaturized form, where it is required, we keep the digital form. So this is an example visualization that, okay, if we can have a suppose a scenario, a geographic location, we can place a white paper on top of it, and we can see the details of that, and that will increase the physical portion of the exhibit and reduce the digital portion of the exhibit, and thereby the whole discussion or all these 2 days we are doing, that this optimization could happen. And then again, this is a zoom table. We have created it for a long time, where the rotating the handle, you can go deeper into the time, deeper into the space, size, the various things. And through content research, you can actually deploy your content, how to fit in this way. And we also try different variation. For example, initially it was a flat screen, but when we think for some kind of content like projecting planet or something like that, this kind of curved screen can also help. So this is the visualization again, why to understand that even if when it is a prototype mode, it looks normal, but it is not for science museum, even not for science center. As a generic technology, this can take any shape depending upon content of the and context of the museum. So, and again, it can be technology behind will be same. This is actually projection exploration, where you put a magnetic there is a magnetic wall, you put the black circle on it, and you get the location specific information. This can also be created for here if we have different sites or different location, you want to give information on a world map, and you can have hotspot, and you keep the similar thing, and you will get the information. Again, this will increase the physicality of the thing and reduce the digital content. Instead of making the full black full thing screen, we can reduce the digital, thereby optimizing the things. So it is again virtual working. So in a museum or a place where we cannot go, so there we can create this kind of immersive experience. This is a prototype thing, so it may seem like, okay, I am seeing a video, but if we can create it like an experience like this with a bigger curved screen and all this, it should look, it should allow visitor to experience the immersion of this situation. And this is actually the tool where we are actually using AI. So here we are detecting human, and instead of making the visual seeker, initially we are making visual seeker through TV and all these things, but that is, there are two things is the problem. One is hardware maintenance, and another thing is the again the screen, and fully it is being digital. So here only where the visitor is standing, that portion will be transparent, all the thing will not be visible. So through AI, we are detecting AI, as Sharma sir was telling yesterday, through AI we are detecting, through training data, we are detecting the human. So actually we took a generic module from internet, and we have retained it with the Indian scenario, because in Indian scenario, women in sarees were coming, so these are the problem. So we have to train the engine to tune it, as sir was discussing. So here we can create this kind of experience by evolution. I have given one example, that a white screen, and as the visitor walks, then the human also walks from one state to another, from primitive state to become more humanistic way. So this kind of digital walk we can create. So this is actually a product improvement, that Visual Seeker we have was connected through power, and for this reason we cannot make it larger than 10 feet, 20 feet. There was a limitation because of this power issue, because wire was coming. Power cannot be delivered wirelessly. So you have written not exactly wirelessly. What we have done, through this metal strip, we have converted it into a DC, and again there is an inverter, and that inverter is converting into again AC. So thereby running the whole thing, and you can create 100 feet long of this, because there is no wire. So this kind of visualization, when it is a technology, you cannot look, but again AI is helping to visualize how it should look in a modern way to behind the technology, keeping the technology behind, we can create a modern look. And this is actually audio problem that every museum faces. When there is a multiple audio, there is audio crosstalk, and for that in Azad Gallery we have implemented it. This the device is actually we can price it is actually off the shelf available outside India, but it is very costly. So what we have done, the video will play in its actually where it is, but whenever a visitor come with their app, mobile app, it will play the sound from where they have started. So it will be in sync. All the people will listen in sync. So this kind of environment where the full gallery is actually immersive gallery of different projection-based system, we can use this kind of things. This is also patented. All this technology I have shown is mostly patented. So this is a physical game, but it's a tic-tac-toe, but I have kept it to show that how even even this game can be used for through proper content research. We can use this game for showing some telling some story. So here we can choose different archaeological theme, and based on the theme, instead of cross and circle, that thematic thing will come. Someone chooses Mesopotamia, someone chooses Egypt. So that thematic thing may come, and they can understand. So this comes in content research. So this is our latest development, and it is a biggest import substitute, that is Science on Sphere. So the Science on Sphere we have again fully developed in-house. The software is in-house. We can take the data from NASA directly in raw format, in multiple format, and we can show it. So it was initially costing around 3 crore, only the equipment. Now we can make it around 60 lakhs for the equipment. So it's a huge import substitution, and the quality I'm telling, if somebody can tell that this is SOS and this is KOS, by seeing the equipment, we'll again try to improve, because people cannot think a difference, and we have much flexibility here. So we have not compromised on the quality 1%. So here what we have done is the way we have reduced the complexity is only through the physical assessment of the thing. What we have a virtual globe. I'll finish, sir. We have a virtual globe. Actually, what we have created in the virtual environment, we have created a virtual globe, and we have put 4 camera, and actually one camera is set with one physical projector. So actually, the one camera one, whatever portion it is seeing on the dome is projecting through projector one in the physical domain, and thereby the mapping is happening very smoothly without any stitching software also. Initially, we are using some stitching blending software, but to reduce the hardware cost further, but that is requiring more hardware. We are doing it through projector directly. So no external software is required almost. So we can project video data, we can project image data, we can project real-time data through, we can download after every 6 minutes, 6 hours, and then through Node.js we are projecting in a web page, and then we can project it here. So this is why we have put a knowledge sphere, because it is not only about science. We can put any data, even archaeological museum, any museum can ask us. We can show the Silk Route, previously it was there. So it is now in our hand how we are. So that's why we have named it knowledge on sphere. It's not on science only. So then we are creating one virtual VR theater. under the guidance of DDG sir, that it is being created in Patna. So here it will combine the both effect of VR and simulator. So combining this both, we are creating it as in Patna. So we make virtual 3D to not 3D to 3D gallery fully. This gallery actually does not exist, so you can go near each exhibit, you can read, you can listen to the video. So this kind of thing are possible. This is we have created for Gandhipedia in collaboration with IIT Gandhinagar and Kharagpur. And this is what I want to. Yesterday, sir was showing some sir from museum that they have implemented QR code. Now, what I am saying, this is zero cost. Zero cost means the technology will actually cost zero. Any museum, smaller museum, mostly, if they want to implement it, 1 day's training through Google Drive and all these things, this full QR code with audio, video, multilingual, all facility. Only one manpower is required for 15 days. They can create this full QR code. If you scan, I have created this as an example. Scan, it will show you just on 28th science conference, this kind of thing. It's again free of cost. So what we do actually using Google site, because 15 GB is already free and you can create multiple account. So you can create the 4 account, you will get 100 GB, 4-5 account, and 100 GB is sufficient to hold any 500 exhibit data. And it will be on Google Cloud and you can create QR code. So we also work or research for the process development, that how we can create a process simpler so that the cost is reduced, and mostly for district science center level, because everybody cannot afford it. So this is again some of the installation, because we don't keep it in the lab level, as always DG sir told that we should implement somewhere. And our Anurag sir, when he was director, he was every time asking, "Kahan pe lagaya bhai?" So that's why we always try for this one, because actual implementation, this is actually a very important installation done. It is in the new Parliament building, right at the center, where the Ashok emblem is there on the top. Exactly on the center of that, we have this focal pendulum installation. And it's a huge project. I was there on the inauguration day of that new Parliament building. So it's actually a huge installation. And these are all the technology we used in a different exhibition to make it live. And then we do some research on visitor data also, visitor statistics, using AI and all these things as a back-end tool. So we have published this paper in the Indian Journal of Scientific Temper. So what we have done, we have taken the Google review, and we have segmented that into positive sense and negative sense, and then we have created word cloud. So, and see, here is a very nice example. See, this is for DSC Digha. Here, if you find the children, it is much bigger. But see, family is very small. That corner is family is so small. That means while giving the review, people have uttered family. It is less relevant to the family. People think this is more relevant to the children. But in case of Science City Kolkata, the family is much bigger. If you see, because it is much relevant. People used to keep family time there. So this is how we can. This is a real story we know. So this is how we can segment what is happening, where it is happening. This type of research we do for Vijay, and we publish paper. This work we are doing for Science City. Sir was asking for longer time. Sir was telling that we want to do this. This is actually visitor analytics from the CCTV data. On real-time basis, it will show, so that in Science City there on the December there is huge crowd, so that the security officer can deploy its manpower and other things as per the requirement. So we are using this. We are publishing many papers on that. We are applying patents for this, because you know, IPR is very much important for this kind of work. And then again, Manas sir will come and conclude.
Yeah,
I'll
please,
conclude
all
immediately.
3 of you, please come on the stage. All 3 of you.
No, I'll just take 2 minutes to conclude. If the same thing may come, please.
So on public demand, you get some time to show the video if you want.
I'll just conclude with two things.
Maybe we'll find the video, and in some session we can show the video.
Yes, I'll just conclude with 2 points. As what are we aiming at Currently, we have in mind one big project that we are going to take up. This is the image of the only full-scale skeleton of a dinosaur that is there in India. There was only one recovered from the Narmada Valley by the archaeologists of the Indian Statistical Institute. It is still there in the museum of the ISI, but it is not accessible for the people. So that is why it is there. And its one single femur bone is 7 feet. It is that big. So we have the technology, we have the know-how, we are planning to photogrammetrize the whole thing, and using photogrammetry, we are going to model all the parts, and then we wish to create a complete animatronics model of this only fully recovered dinosaur in India. Interestingly, its name is Barapasaurus tagori, on Rabindranath Tagore. So these type of projects that we are aiming at digitally, we will take up this project so that we can create digital twins of real artifacts as well, where you keep the artifact in the controlled environment and take its digital twin to the people for its dissemination. So that's how technology can be relegated to use, it can be leveraged, and in the front end, it will always be there. I will follow the tradition. বাংলায় বলতে গেলে আমরা এটাই বলতে পারি যে প্রযুক্তি ফুটনোটে থাক, হেডলাইনে না উঠে আসে, তাহলে আমরা আমাদের নিজেদের জায়গা হারাবো হেডলাইন থেকে। সকলকে ধন্যবাদ। Thank you very much. See you on the other side of the program.
Thanks to the team, Mr. Manas Bagchi, Mr. Arnab Ghosh, and Mr. Shatadal for giving such an insight of the use of digital technology in respect to the museums. Well, I used to have a poster in my room for a long time which said, "You know yourself by what you can do, others know you by what you have already done." And people know about NCSM by what it has already done. Thank you very much, all the three of you. It's good to see that people are talking. The people who started digital revolution in the field of museums are now talking of using less of digital technology in the museums because of some of its drawbacks. But it doesn't mean that you stop doing research on digital technology. You need to keep on improving on the technology so that you are in a better position to showcase those technologies to the people.
Well, may we now call Mr. Gunanka DB IFS, Project Director, Shillong Science Center, Shillong, for his presentation, whose topic is Brief Information on Shillong Science Center.
A very good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank NCSM for organizing this. This is for first one for me. I would like to thank more and appreciate for bringing diverse ideas. Maybe it's DG sir's idea, or I don't know. Yesterday's having non-governmental entity also in such government conference is something rare, but it's very much required. People may disagree with views, but having multiple views is very much important, and I felt very happy. Even in fact, the presentations which I was looking forward was also such presentation outside the normal government setup. Please, I think we should continue to have this, whether it's here or in other places. I will not go into the details of what Shillong Science Center is doing, or I will not go into the technology part, which already everyone is already speaking about it. Since I'm also a bureaucrat, as I would say, I mean, this is one of my assignments. So I would like to see from that perspective how I see Science Center and the things that may require attention from other Science Center also. Yeah. I think this topic is being touched again and again. Yesterday, I think one of the director of government of Jharkhand and in several other presentations, we're talking about accessibility, but how you see accessibility and what I see, I try to see we have Shillong here, that's the only science center we are having. Meghalaya is a small state, but it's not very easily accessible for everyone. The Bagmara, which is in the southernmost part, which is just next to Bangladesh, it takes more than 13-14 hours. That's one term divide, I would say. Urban-rural divide, I won't even say urban-rural divide. Our science center, I would say, is serving only few students of Shillong urban schools, not even the government schools. And rest of Meghalaya is more or less not visiting our center. The other one is digital. Within Shillong also, people who have better access, better information, only few schools, some top elite schools may be visiting. This is the accessibility issue which concerned me a lot as soon as I took charge of Shillong Science Center. In fact, I keep sharing this. One of the surprising factor for me is, I mean, during my childhood, I didn't visit any science center. I am from Karnataka. Let's not go into the reasons. But now I have a son who is 8 years old. Once he was 5-6 years old, he started showing interest in science. So whichever state I go, I used to take him for science centers. So this is how I started exploring science centers. Ironically, till I got an office order that I have been given additional charge of Shillong Science Center, I was not even aware that there is a science center in Shillong. It didn't come to my mind that Shillong, being a small town, can have its own science center. This is a kind of paradox, I would say. So I'm just trying to address these issues. I'm not going too much because, as I told, for me, building a very modernized science center is very much required, but how does it help if my students, if my residents are not using it? I also did a simple math, like currently what's the operational cost? I'm not going into the capital cost of my Shillong Science Center. It was maybe a grant which came from center. I don't know the details. But what's the current cost? Even if by going with very good footfall of my staff, which I won't believe, the per head cost for every visitor is 2,000. That's the best footfall they are telling. If you go with a very conservative, or which I see, it is more than 20,000. So I'm spending 20,000 per footfall or per head, up to 2,000 on Science Center. And what I'm offering? It's the end of the day, or the one who is coming, getting that knowledge, what they are supposed to see. See, for me, Science Center is, I'm looking mostly from education perspective. Shillong, if you people know about Meghalaya, unfortunately, our educational SDG indicators are not great. Even the state is trying its best in last couple of years. Things will change, but as of now, it's not great. In fact, half of the Meghalaya, this part of Meghalaya we call Garo Hills, even getting students with science graduates for certain positions is very challenging. So I try to see Shillong Science Center is ignite these young minds in their young age and make science something interesting. So it should not be that science or maths is a subject which is very difficult for them. So for me, one of the main objective of my Shillong Science Center is to generate. But how do I do it? So as I saw, I worked out the math. So the cost is looking very dangerous for me. So thankfully, small states, few officers holding multiple charges, able to convert funds from other, positions which I'm handling. With the bare half of the additional, I would say 50% of additional operational cost which I'm already spending, I'm able to 4 to 5 times increase the footfall. But how I'm trying to do? we call it a new program called Pulse. I mean, today's key acronyms are something of today's era of programs. If you don't have attractive names, it will not be considered. So don't go with that. This is nothing much. I am just requesting DCs, writing to DCs that I will sponsor your remotest students' travel cost, stay. I built a simple dormitory with proper safety, with CCTV, but a simple dormitory. I will bear your travel cost. I will give them free accommodation. I will give them food. Whatever the expenses, so you don't have to worry. I mean, for districts also, if I tell, they tell we don't have that head, this head, education department, there is no head for all this. Let's not go into all the normal bureaucratic process. You don't worry. You just send students. You send me how much ever you want. So this is how we started this Pulse program. Initially, any program in Meghalaya won't get a positive response, but we have to make consistent efforts, and this is becoming quite interesting, and we are getting more and more students. In fact, in Meghalaya, November, December, January is winter holidays. We started getting requests even during that time they want to visit, and we facilitated. In fact, we had summer camps. How we have summer camps in other places, we had winter camps. Every week we try to bring these batches and make them engaged. I mean, this is additional. How much ever you do this Pulse program, still I will not be able to reach, say, 50% of my students every year. Along with this, what we are trying to do, we have simply called Science on Wheels. A simple vehicle with minimum equipments, tools. I mean, thanks to the digital world, you don't need too much of equipments also. You have VRs, and take them to school. But just visiting one school once upon a lifetime will not make any difference. So we are not trying to have a very great ambition that I will visit every school. Let's make hub and spoke model. Every block level, 1 or 2 main schools which can anchor, and we keep on visiting the same school again and again. Or else, once we visit, fine, it may create some interest, but unless you have this consistent efforts, things will not go. So this is what we started. I mean, unfortunately, my Shillong Science Center had no website also. I mean, even if you search in Google, there was nothing about Shillong Science Center. So this is again from accessibility perspective. I don't want, again, a Pulse program, a bureaucratic thing, people calling my people, and they taking their own time to just give them slots. What we are trying to do is around 50 batches. Every day we should be able to handle 2 to 3 batches, made it a simple web-based. The dates are available, you book and you come. You don't have to even interact with us. So we don't want to add any delay. That is what we are trying to do. Additionally, what we are trying to do is, I mean, basically I want to attract more and more students. So these days everybody wants a birthday with themes. So why don't you have science-based birthday? You come and do your birthday in my science center. I will give you the birthday. You generally in your birthdays you have some puzzles, what is called treasure hunt and all, right? I have those ready. You don't have to worry. You bring your students and celebrate. So these are some of the things. I won't say these are big things for bigger states. For a small state like Northeast Meghalaya, these small things is making the difference which I wanted. One is on accessibility. The other part is interactive experience. This is again here, Meghalaya. It's not just Meghalaya. As I told, as part of being a father, I've taken my sons to several state museums. I feel that interactive experience is missing in any science museum, wherever at least so far I visited. Okay, you have a model, you have some brief explanation, but what next? Catching that interest of a student who is visiting, we are missing, I feel. I mean, at the same time, I visited some of the museums outside. Even a simple forest walk, they make it more interactive with simple puzzles, questions, trying to keep you engaged. That is missing. So just increasing footfall is okay, basic step, but what next? So is it really helping the student to create that additional interest in science and maths or not? So here also small efforts, I won't say it's completely successful. So the first step, what we did is, I engaged with a team who are interested in science education. All the models which are there in my Shillong Science Center, we try to find open source knowledge material, mostly video content, just explaining what your equipment does, like the basics of science behind that instruments. Because when these students come to schools, science centers, right, I mean, there's a time constraint. They cannot try to understand everything and then, what do you say, feel it. So when we write to schools, what we are asking is, schools, please go through my websites. For each and every equipment, I have on board, I mean, I have tried to bring this open source material knowledge. I mean, these days, Khan Academy and all, I mean, one or two only you will get most, but not limiting to one or two such. As many as we are trying to bring, and telling schools also, before you come, make some efforts. The teachers also go through these equipments, try to understand the basic science, then you come and feel it. Then it makes more fun. Understand theory and then do practical. Okay, in some cases people will not do it, but once they come, they want to know more about it. So for every of my exhibit, I just created this QR code, and you just scan it. Maybe you can scan this actual QR code. It takes back to that YouTube page, and it will explain what is this about. I think this is see-through wall. What is see-through wall? What is the science behind this? Additionally, I mean, I just want to see, mostly, I mean, again from a bureaucratic experience, we launch so many programs, we do several. Most of the time, our evaluation ends with financial utilization or physical utilization. If financial and physical utilization is done, okay, our program is successful. But we fail to measure impact. This is, again, all my personal experience. If someone is already doing it, don't take it other way. So one, from interactive perspective, one from monitoring what I'm trying to do is correct or not. So we have just kept some 50 tabs in my museums. We have generated a pool of questionnaires, more than 10,000 questionnaires based on specific themes which my science center is offering. And randomly these 30 questions comes to these students. This is before. I mean, one more thing is, I won't take students directly to exhibits. Now my curator, deputy curator, everyone has worked. They have to explain my students what the science museum, in brief, science behind this. They explain, then these students attend 30 questions. It's just objective questions. Then they visit the science museum, planetarium, everything. Then before they leave, again, not same set of questions, same themes, different set of questions, random questions, it's attended. Then I will see whether visiting science center is making any difference. This is just one step I'm trying to do here. Additionally, I mean, I'm very open for collaborations. I mean, that's what I'm feeling good about this also. We're trying to engage with NGOs, bring the STEM labs in some schools. I mean, bringing STEM labs in every school is very difficult, costly exercise, but at least in the same hub and spoke model, we are trying to expand. This additionally one thing, I mean, as part of my other role, I'm trying to introduce chess in schools. I believe chess improves cognitive ability of students. Any game, anything that is game type, always students participate. So cognitive, if they involve in chess, definitely their mental calculations, their logical skill improves. So since that we are doing in my other, this one, in Science Center, we have this chess arena. Let students come, let them also introduce them to chess, so later they can go and continue. At the same time, one more efforts, I mean, not everything goes well. Another efforts, I feel, one way to keep negative tension in the atmosphere is to engage more and more people towards positive things. Not limited to students, I wanted to engage the residents of Shillong also in science-related debates, questionnaires. So from center only we created science club, tried to push having multiple talks, sessions, but still this is not going great. Unless I do everything and call few of them turn up. See, these are all not students, they are residents. If someone is, maybe in big cities like Bangalore, I'm from Bangalore, so taking examples, these talks, people will lie in demand. If today I want to have something on AI, I mean, there will be more demand, but in Shillong, I have to find 20 people to make them attend. So this is where I have failed. I think this is in few, the accessibility and interactive experience which we are trying to do. Any suggestion, any improvements, how we can do, always welcome, I think. Thank you. This is Living Road Bridge of Meghalaya. I'm happy, and maybe I will use this opportunity to make a request since DG sir is also there. Sir, if there is a provision, Meghalaya is very rich in this living root bridges. We are going to get UNESCO heritage, cultural heritage also, and we have very good waterfalls, world's longest caves and all. If a museum, interactive museum, if not a science museum, I mean interactive experience-based museum, if you can propose, if you are going to consider, then I would like to propose through government channel only. So I'm just making a pitch for it. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Gunaka. A bureaucrat converted into a science communicator. Your initiatives like Pulse and all other things that you've shown is probably going to make a great impact in the state of Meghalaya. Definitely, it's a beautiful state. I have the opportunity to visit it once, and with your initiative, I think it's going to take new heights. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your presentation. May I now call upon Mr. Saket Singh Kaurav, the project coordinator of Regional Science Center Bhopal, for his presentation.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for giving me this wonderful opportunity where we can discuss and talk about challenges and opportunities in digital era. And definitely it is very serious concern, the way we are heading towards 21st century, and everybody is talking like artificial intelligence, but artificial intelligence is not everything. As museum, as science centers, we have to preserve our own physical experiences and take this experience to beyond four wall. As our council has a very famous and very important objective, and the punchline, taking science to millions. And just in the morning, the director, National Science Center Delhi, sir, just tell that taking science to billions. So definitely on that note, we have to extend our four wall without breaking physical existence. On this note, I'll talk about our Regional Science Center Bhopal's initiative on social media platforms. Here, as you all know, this is our NCSM's unit situated in Bhopal. So we have physical experiences here, as all the science center and science museums are having, but adding on it a new dimension which we call digital era. Digital era has provided us more opportunities and challenges. In COVID, we have experienced how we can harness this technology. Altogether, India's internet access was becoming much, much powerful during that period also, because Reliance slowly rolled out 5G, and immediately internet took off very fast in India, and the consumption rate has increased many, many fold. As our director, Nehru Science Center, Sir Esther discussed and presented us about the number active users in India, that actually showing how India is now moving from the desktop or the laptop to the mobile devices. So how we can harness that or leverage that level of access in the field of science communication. So we have our presence on all very important popular social media platforms. You can see here, all of us are having a website, but adding to that, social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, and now more important, I think Satadal was also mentioning about his paper, we are very concerned and actively monitoring a Google review. Though our number is increasing organically, but we have a long way to go with the aim and vision. On that note, I'll go immediately with considering the time challenge we have, because time is the fourth dimension and very short in our hand, but it is always flowing. On that note, you can see here, we are having these 4 active promoting platforms now. So what we realized, the power of each platform has its own strength and disadvantages. In Bhopal, what we started with, mainly we try to increase YouTube, because what we realized during COVID era, YouTube has a very powerful role to play, because it will become like a digital repository in future also. Whatever content is being produced and broadcasted using live, or maybe we are uploading after full production. So here, the website, which is very much accessible, and thanks to our NCSM only, our BI team has provided to our West Zone, so our site is now being hosted by our own server, maintained by us through our zonal head office, Mumbai, and we are taking care of it, the digital update and content, and we are also trying to be relevant, not just uploading, based on that, how we can shift the traffic from website to the social media platform. On that, we have added a component. I have not used in this slide the social media like Facebook, so visitor can come also on the Facebook rather than icon also. Here, I think it's not working. Yeah. So as I told earlier, the very famous, historically, we always talk taking science to the four walls, beyond four walls, and around the world, different science centers, science museums are coming up in digital era. They are also bringing new changes in their physical experiences and their virtual experiences. And our council is having very UNESCO rewarded program like a mobile science exhibition program. We have been running, as DG sir has mentioned yesterday, how many buses are being controlled and run by our council. So that was the era when we said taking science beyond four walls. Now in the digital era, we are also adding a new component, physical experience at Science Center, then mobile science exhibition, and now through social media like YouTube. We are broadcasting, we are taking our content for anybody not within the boundaries of our nation. If any Hindi is speaking, I'm talking about Bhopal, that's why I'm using the Hindi speaking, because in the MP is having a official language as well as school and colleges language of a medium of discussion and reading is also Hindi, or the general mass of government schools. So considering that challenge, we are trying to emphasize the regional, very important connect. As we say, multi-diversity is very important for unity, and that is how we are harnessing. So we tried one experiment with this popular science lecture during National Space Day, which we have celebrated at Bhopal in collaboration with ISRO. And during this, we have organized multiple programs. So this was one of the events on 23rd of August when Professor Vahia sir came to us. We invited through collaboration with Manav Sangrahalaya, and this lecture was not only streamed live on our YouTube channel, we also streamed to different 3 mobile science exhibition buses which we are operating in the Madhya Pradesh. And real time, we also allowed to interact with the speaker. And we were taking questions from the respective sides. So this is called, actually we are trying this lecture to be there in virtual mode, but they can interact with the speaker in the real time. So this was done very successfully. You can see here that this is our auditorium, and we were also having a live streaming parallelly on top, so that a large number of gathering can be adjusted for the talk. But these 3 photographs are different schools of Madhya Pradesh, government schools. As we want to communicate to all, Mobile Science Exhibition Program of Regional Science Center Bhopal is being run in collaboration with Department of School Education, Government of Madhya Pradesh, and also Department of Tribal Affairs. So our 3 buses are funded for the operational purpose by these respective government organizations of the state. So this talk was very, very well received, and we requested, sir, please talk in Hindi so that they can connect, they can ask, and they can also should have the feeling we can ask from the speaker if the language is not a barrier. So as we are saying, communication of science matters in the language, as I think sir is also continuing the same culture like yesterday. We have to conclude our session in our own language or on area wherever we are working. And this program we have been running in winter season with the very support of government of Madhya Pradesh. We are trying to organize night sky program. All NCSM MSc programs, we have this facility, but this time we have added new component. They can see the sky through the telescope, and also they can ask and interact with us. So we tried, and we had a very good experience. We want to improve it. Resources are a big challenge for us, definitely, but a great ray of hope. We have multifold to invest time and energy with the staff so that we can interact with more teachers and students from respective places and the school students. And now, very important part, as I am trying to take for a few minutes about our YouTube channel. Quickly, I'll go through about other social media platforms, but the impact of YouTube can make in the field of communication of science, this is very critically evident with these experiences. at the end of 2020, we were having a 329 subscriber. And now we have 7.35 thousand, yani around 7,000 subscriber, more than 7,000 subscriber. And I'm happy to say, being a part of NCSM unit and family, we always learn as by doing. Our Science Center is having largest subscriber under the Science Center network, not only NCSM, also other Science Centers in India. We have checked, and this is the number which is very encouraging for us to go much higher. Though YouTubers and influencers, they are having bigger numbers. That's our goal and milestone we have to achieve with more resources and energy. That is a challenge in digital time. And one important factor I want to communicate to all, not uploading a video is a big deal on YouTube. We may produce number of videos we can upload, but the consumption is not highly correlated with the upload of videos. Video content matters. So viewership is not or cannot be calculated based on the strength of your content on the video, of the video on the platform. So we have a views of more than 2 lakh views of entirely 243 videos. And when we have went through with other YouTube channels, leading YouTube channels, not only in India and surrounding science centers beyond India also, the viewership is also not that much considering the time their video. So that is the challenge. If we are producing a content, it should be relevant and accessible to the audience. I'll bring that analytics before you all as well, so that we can have a correlation why it matters for all of us in this business when we are talking about popularization of science. So we realize YouTube cannot be already used for the live streaming. So we are uploading content, we are producing a video for an example, whatever talk we are being conducted, for an example, if it is not live, then we can record and post later on. And also we are doing live streaming of all the talks, and that live chat, person or any individual can interact. So we have created a group, multiple groups, and we are spreading that talks link to all the groups of schools and colleges, and some of them may interact. And we experienced government schools from respective places, their teachers are pulling it, and we are trying to convey and interacting with the speaker. So this platform is having a huge ray of hope for improvement for us and scope to invest more time and energy with the resource. And as internet is important, internet is also becoming very reliable. And now we recently started podcast. And the podcast, what we realized when we did a little bit survey and we discussed with the government school student, though we have visitors from private schools and everything, but working with the state government, what mandate we as the language is very important and their background. So we should not be very high-end in terms of putting a podcast. So what we are trying to decode or demystify the very concept of the speaker. If the speaker is agreed, then we are talking about his journey from his schooling life and what challenges he or she was having during his grown-up ages, so that the student can relate and emulate that we can also do the same thing in this field of science and technology. So this number is increasing, though we are very, very early in this stage. Only 10 podcasts so far we have achieved, but number is growing. We are always having a good speaker, and let's see how we goes in this direction. That is a big challenge for us. This I wanted to show you, as we all know now, this is our own data. Regional Science Center Bhopal's mobile phone is highly used for our YouTube channels consumption. That shows whatever content, even shorts, we are producing in a vertical manner. We need to be careful about the projection of video, recording, and graphics. So that it should not be a content of projection, it should be a content of meaningful use for the audience and users. So we are working on it. And when we did survey, our data says our content is also not limited to India. I'm very surprised, it is also being consumed in America, United States. So that means when we are having huge Hindi speaking videos, the language of those videos are mostly Hindi. So content is being produced and consumed globally. That shows Indians are also accessing the content beyond for our India. And sometimes international speakers are being invited through virtual platforms, so like Nobel laureate John C. Mather and other people. I think that may also be the reason from the NASA, people are also consuming content when we are having any live session. Pakistan, United Kingdom, Bangladesh, United Arab, Philippines, number is slowly, drastically reducing, but it is not zero. And that means, in terms of percentage, that means the content in Hindi can have a larger impact on a global front also. So as a government of India's official language also, we have a big role to play in this domain to make Hindi language-based science to beyond four walls. And that hope is coming from this platform. Just a quick second. I think, sir, yeah, correct. Here, as I wanted to tell you one thing, that we were having very, so much pressure from the visitors. 25th Jan is the event when this planet parade is happening. You have to organize something. We have been doing lots of sky observation sessions on multiple rounds, but date was not very specific. This was very big hype, and thanks to internet, around the world, even BBC, and around the world, people were just telling they became talk of the town. 25th January is very critical for observation of these planets. This is not the rarest of rare event. Then immediately we tried the same date also, though we were having a plan to organize on multiple occasions, but we organized to demystify the date also. And before the day, we have uploaded the video in the late night. I was surprised to see this video, which actually I narrated in the late night, post-midnight, and uploaded on our channel, was consumed immediately before the event in the evening. And why this is not rarest of rare, and we used stellarium, and we have tried to showcase how these planetary alignments are coming up. It's not hope like a big hype. They are coming in a single line like a parade. So that was very interesting, and people consumed. And in the evening, they also came, when they came to visit Science Center, though this was a new experience for us, around more than 700 people turned up in the evening, and we had to approach to police station for helping us to make that event very successful, and safety was the main concern. And thanks to the power of internet, sometimes Science Center receive visitors, which is not actually triggered due to other mode of communication, due to hype, due to YouTubers or influencers. Sometimes they are also add value to this communication. And the selective channels, every year-wise, we are increasing. You can see the data, 20, 21, 22. 23, 24, and now 25. And one more important experience which I wanted to communicate before you all. This is the gathering where we have big role to play in coming up years and future to shape science communication community, especially from the Science Center and Science Museum perspective. Our one event, we organized the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. And you can see the viewership, 72,000 views. Around the world, people were interacting with us in the live. That shows, and we were talking in Hindi already, so you can see the power of communication, how it can go beyond borders. And that video immediately became, it was trending on YouTube. And Doordarshan took up for their YouTube channel, and they also used our feed. So this shows we have a long way to go, but we can do it with minimum resources also, with minimum team. So that's the great thing, support we are getting from our head office, zonal offices, and our team. So we have to work very hard to harness YouTube. And Facebook, quickly, in 2020, our number was just not that much encouraging. We have to work very hard. It's growing, but what we have observed at Regional Science Center Bhopal, our forte is becoming YouTube channel to take further ahead in our council. And here you can see how Facebook is becoming very important part in coexistence with the Department of School Education of Government of Madhya Pradesh. They are also sharing our feed and post on their YouTube, on their Facebook pages. So they have a wider reach of government schools in India, in Madhya Pradesh. So that's the reason we have a big hope that our page will also have more viewership and followers in coming years. And Instagram is new for us, and now after YouTube, what we are realizing at Science Center Bhopal, this may be the new baby which we have bigger power, because when we are live, we are doing live Instagram live, youth, as Genji sir was telling yesterday the number, Director Nehru Science Center sir, that the number is very encouraging. Youth is, especially college youth is on Instagrams, and they are becoming very aware of it, and they are our follower. Number is very very early to say, but number is encouraging and very, very challenge to us to make it multifold for larger followers. And you can see here, Twitter, we are facing a challenge, though it's a very important broadcast channel, microblogging site. But the era is saying YouTube and Instagram is the powerful media for Science Center's community. So we have to harness that. And very quickly, because of those initiatives, I think we were picked up by this, the 3 best rated organizations from US. They selected us top 3 museums in Bhopal. And I think Tribal doesn't need an introduction. It's a very famous very famous museum, art and culture museum. And Shaurya Smarak, then Science Center came in with that comparison. So we have a huge challenges ahead to make sustainable, not within the 4 wall, also to take our content digitally through our channels. And now we are also having a serious responsibility for maintaining Google review. And each and every comments or review we are answering. And I'm very thankful that Director Science City also do the same thing. He explained earlier, sometimes he also replied in the late night. So the culture we are also following. Our Director Nehru Science Center, Kumar sir, has said that we need to harness full potential of digital platform so that whatever reach we have, it may multifold. So that's the direction we are hoping to grow in this field. And definitely number is not big, but it says 4.4. That means people are accepting us. And I'll tell you one thing, recently we had a power cut. So we received so many telephones when Science Center will reopen in the evening. They were ready to open. Number is, again, a challenge of visitors. We are growing, but in comparison to our councils at the Science Center, we have a big role to play for improving our visitors from different dimensions. And each and every review we are answering, and sometimes we are analyzing some complaint for our non-functional exhibit or any challenges we are taking seriously and immediately attending. So it is also two-way engagement with our digital audience and the content-driven society. So that's a big role and challenge and opportunity at the same time. Though WhatsApp is everybody's now baby, and we are all using official and personal capacity, so definitely it is one more dimension and channel we are actually utilizing it. And in the last, considering the time challenge, before the co-chair can say anything, I'll conclude it here. By fostering a culture of curiosity and critical thinking, the center contributes to the building of scientifically informed society equipped to navigate the complexity of the modern era. Equipped to the complexity that I want to bring it, the digital divide, we thought earlier it will create a bigger barrier in the society, but now it is reducing connect of our council with the society. That is a big happiness and hope where our council and our science center like Bhopal can play a big meaningful role. On this note, thank you DG sir and everybody and organizers and co-chairs and for giving me opportunity. Thank you very much one and all. Thank you from the Regional Science Center Bhopal. धन्यवाद. और अंत में मैं हिंदी में कहूँगा कि विज्ञान को लोगों तक ले जाना है तो हमें उस भाषा का इस्तेमाल से ज़्यादा उस कंटेंट की लोकप्रियता को ध्यान में रखते हुए उन चैनल्स का इस्तेमाल जरूर करें जो आपके लिए स्ट्रेंथ का काम कर सकती हैं. वो हमारे काउंसिल का जो पैशन है, मोटिवेशन है, दैट वी कैन कैरी ऑन. थैंक यू. थैंक यू.
Thank you, Saket, for giving the details of what you have done for using the social media platform, which has become very, very important in today's world. Very recently, we, in fact, got hold of Sonam Wangchuk, who was visiting Kolkata, and he spoke some very good words about Science City, and we used his words for, publicizing Science City on Instagram, and it got very, very good, response from the visitors. So we learned one thing, that it is important to create content on social media, but it is also important to take help of some of the influencers to popularize your social media. You can collaborate with such influencers to popularize your social media. Thanks again for doing some great work in this field. Now I would like to call upon Mr. Shubha Ghosh, who is the curator at Science City. As you all know, that Science City has come up with a new gallery on climate change, which is a very interesting, amalgamation of physical, interactive, and digital platform. So we'll, before we start the talk, in fact, on 11th January, our Minister Shri Gajendra Singh Shekhawat came to inaugurate this exhibition, and looking at the content, he immediately told us not only to replicate this gallery at different places, but also come up with a virtual gallery on this theme. So we have created a virtual gallery, and which is virtual gallery on climate change. And we are proud to announce that the first version 1 of this virtual walkthrough interactive climate change gallery is going to be inaugurated today. And I'll request Mr. A.D. Chaudhary, DG NCSM, to do the honors.
Just like to thank Mr. Anurag Kumar and his team. As he said, I think it was 12th of Jan, our Honorable Minister visited Science City to inaugurate this. And within, I think, less than a month, they could come up with this virtual tour. And I hope this will now be accessible to all my colleagues from across all science centers. They can reach out to the portal of Indian Science City as well as NCSM. And there's a link from where they'll be able to go through this virtual tour.
Welcome to the Climate Change Gallery on the Edge. Watch as cool blues shift to fiery reds, revealing a steady rise in global temperatures.
So we have added
Each strip of
commentary
color
also
tells a
into it,
story, spanning from the pre-industrial
explaining the
era
exhibits.
to today's
We have also added
unprecedented warmth.
interactives,
This
in
visual
this,
journey is a powerful reminder of our
virtual,
planet's transformation
walkthrough.
and the urgency of action.
Can we enter into it? Yeah. So this is the, at the center you see the large digital screen which gives the introduction to the gallery. It's a 12 feet by 12 feet by 24 feet, I'll say, kept in right angle, two 12 feet by 12 feet screens. On the left, you
With
see.
a 1 degree
Yeah,
Celsius
this
rise
is one
since
which I would
pre-industrial
like to show.
times,
These are the
humanity has
some
reshaped
interactive
Earth,
touch points
pushing
are added.
countless species.
So you touch any of them, and then the display of the content comes on the screen. So you can keep surfing in a similar way.
Is
I'll
toward
request to, yeah. So
extinction.
very quickly, if you
By
can go to the different sections. So you can view the entire gallery through this virtual walkthrough. Many people say that if you have virtual walkthrough, why people will come to the gallery? I would rather like to take your opinion. How many of you, after seeing this, would be interested in going to the gallery? Yeah, I see many hands being raised who will be more interested to visit this gallery after seeing the virtual walkthrough. So I feel that virtual walkthrough is going to, encourage people to visit such gallery rather than discouraging them. So in order to get, in fact, this gallery is spread in 2 floors and there are many exhibits. So I would rather suggest you to go to the website of Science City to see this in detail. And now I'll hand over the mic to Shubha Ghosh to take you further for his presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. So I'll just have a little walkthrough, just give you a little guide of the walkthrough so that you all can follow. In order to do that, you can also select in your phone, you go to the website of Science City Kolkata, and in that, if you go to the galleries, you will find the digital gallery. So whatever you have seen here, you can see that. Shatadal, you can just play once more that walkthrough. Just once more. We can show in the website if it is supported, so that you all can follow, whoever is interested. Under galleries. So under Science City, you go to the gallery, you click it. Yeah, I think there is some network issue. Yeah, it's working? Yeah. So if you go to the gallery, why we have created this, this digital walkthrough is, yesterday we had a great suggestion from one of our friends who said that, why don't we club all the digital activities in one place so that they can refer to, they can go through, they can get some ideas. And we wanted to create this so that it crosses the boundaries, it crosses the barriers, everyone can have access to it. Each and every section has been supported by videos and narration. There we have used AI to create the narrations. So let me first see if it is working here. No, it is under galleries. It's not loading? Yeah. Yeah, it's working, I believe. Okay. Yeah, so let us go to the presentation part. So I'll just go through the brief about what has been gone through in making this gallery, because this conference is all about that, what is the way ahead, whether we should depend a lot on digital technology, what are the things that we should go forward. And very honestly, I would like to say that while making this gallery, I got immense support from my director, because we had a lot of brainstorming sessions as to how to present the story in an engaging manner, because climate change is something about which a common people is aware of it, but the common people should have something wow in it, which will pull again and again to this gallery. So as you can see that this is a central sculpture which was built for the outside the gallery. We have methodically kept it because it should summarize the story and it should break any kind of barriers in the minds of the people, like they should have an idea what is to be expected inside the gallery. So it is kind of an introduction to the gallery, and then as the person enters the gallery, he goes through different exhibits. Now what was our thought process? Our thought process was to develop a story. And in order to develop a story, what are the ways that we can develop a story was the thought that we have gone through. So as we can see, and it has been discussed at large in our audience yesterday also, that today's audience, especially millennials and Gen Z, desire opportunities to engage, question and explore, but they want immersion. That is very, very important. We have to give immersive experience as much as possible, because they are very much compatible with digital interfaces. They have got YouTube, they have got all the social media and in their mobile. So why they should come to this gallery to know more? That was one thing. Second thing is that we desperately wanted to break barriers and increase inclusivity. Like everyone should feel like, yes, they are most welcome in this gallery. And to do that, we have kept some steps, like we have made the levels very small so that they don't have to go through a lot of text. All the text have been made in 3 languages, like English, Hindi and the local vernacular language, so that even if you are not aware of the technical terms, you can enjoy the exhibits out here. Third is we wanted to make the designs visitor friendly so that the design should call the visitors to the exhibit, not that the visitors are pushed towards the exhibit. It should attract the visitors. But for doing that, we consciously use digital as a complementary tool. That was the most important thing. It should not override the story. It should be just a part of the story. So I have just selected 7 and 8 exhibits just to tell my story, like how we have done. So in the first one, the exhibit was the bottom one, which a visitor observes the moment he enters into the gallery. Before that, so in this story, what is the story that we wanted to say is there are a host of species which are going on the path of extinction, and according to IUCN data, we have deliberately used all the data from credible websites because we are a credible institution. So from IUCN data, we have found that these animals and plants which are shown there are primarily on the verge of extinction, where the major cause is human interference or climate change. So on that basis, we have selected the data. If we have gone for some other kind of traditional display, we could have used this kind of long panels. But we know that visitors won't be interested to go through them. So we squeezed that and we made a structure of an eye, and the center we have placed a big mirror which will which will raise curiosity among the visitors, why this mirror? And the answer is, you are the cause and you are also going to be extinct in days to come. And for that, a small monitor, a TV has been used, where if you tap any particular image of your choice, you get the more detailed knowledge about what is the status of this particular species, whether it is a plant or animal, whether it is critically endangered, whether it is going to be extinct very soon, or we have got little time left. So that was the thought. That's why we squeezed this entire panel kind of an content into a small eye, which will pull everybody to this thing. So here you can see that digital is just aiding in the exhibit, not it is overpowering that. Then in the second part, the Arctic adventure. This exhibit, the central idea behind this exhibit is, because of climate change, newer animals and plants are entering into Arctic. So if they are entering into an super cold area like Arctic, what is going to happen in the places like us? Like we are all aware of a plant called Parthenium. Parthenium is an invasive species that is killing the local vegetation. But we wanted to show that Arctic are the thermometers of the world, and even in that area, if newer animals are entering, so it is causing havoc. So in order to tell that story, we implemented this design where we have made a sledge. We have just used 2 projectors to create an immersive sledge ride in the Arctic. Because I'm sure that most of us will never get an opportunity to ride a sledge in the Arctic, but they will be attracted to do that, and that's why we say it is multi-sensory. Why it is called multi-sensory? Because you feel like you are riding the sledge, and while the sledge is running, a fan has been used to force cold air into the face of the visitor. Like he is driving in the ice and the changes is happening, and the sledge is swaying, and when the sledge is moving, it is stopping at different places, and while it is stopping at different places, the animals are coming up on the screen, and it is staying for few seconds, saying that it is a local animal or an animal which has come up from the lower latitudes. So that way, in a very short ride of around 1.5 minutes, he can learn something about invasives. So again, the digital component has helped in pulling the audience to this particular exhibit. This is another interesting story. Now, for climate change, we all know about climate change, but there is a degree of mistrust, like something might be happening at the Arctic. Why should I be worried? For that, we say no, climate change is happening everywhere, and so we have selected some examples from our country also. So we all know about Kedarnath disaster, but we are not aware of something called GLOF. Many of our visitors we have asked that what is GLOF, they don't know. But it is a little technical topic. The GLOF, as you see, is glacial lake outburst flooding. So we need to deliver this story. In order to deliver this story, we tried to pull up the example of Kedarnath where everybody could relate to, because the disaster of Kedarnath is known to everybody. The number of people who died, the number of houses which washed away in just one night, everybody knew. So we recreated that Kedarnath thing. As you can see on the top, you can see in our virtual walkthrough, we have put up this video where the temple of Kedarnath has been kept. And then the entire landscape has been created, and that entire exhibit is operated by a digital screen. Now the beauty is, in each cycle, more than 100 liters of water is gushed in from the top, and the same water need to be recycled back. So it needs time. While the water is being recycled, that time is used to tell the story of the GLOF with Kedarnath as the centerpiece. So we are using this technology in order to, rework the animation that we wanted to do. So for repeatability of this animation, that mechanical animation, we have used this digital platform. Here, as you can see, we have created a structure of a woman from that zone. We have found that these kind of objects are real crowd pullers. People come, people take selfies with them, they post it on social media, and then they tell the story of Kedarnath to everybody. And parents are now telling the story to their kids. This is another story. It has been found that, there was just report 2 days back where it is said that the sea level will rise by 5 millimeter. When we asked our kids, do you know that sea level will rise by 5 millimeter? They said 5 millimeter is nothing, because the wave goes up and goes down every day when we go to any coast. But we wanted to show it is a big thing, and 5 millimeter is just an average. It will be variable at different areas. So in order to tell that story, we have taken the data from NASA Sea Projection Tool, because people wanted to know that if you are showing something, where from you get this? So we have taken the sources like NASA Sea Projection, and through a mechanical animation, we have selected a place near Kolkata, which is called Garden Reach. So Garden Reach is known to the commons. It is a shipbuilder. We know, all of us are aware of his Garden Reach Shipbuilders Association. So that Garden Reach, in the area 2050 and 2100, how much water will rise according to NASA has been done. So you can see the visitors are enjoying and taking snaps of the kid getting drowned in the water. So our observation is, whenever we have shown it to our visitors, they started, getting frightened. They said that, is it true? And then we say, we are not saying, it is NASA which is saying, so it is true. So we need to fear. So that is the concept that here, again see, the digital interface is just a small screen, but it is helping a lot in making this story. In our place, Bengal, we have been facing a lot of cyclonic storms in near term. Like Amphan was the biggest storm that we have faced in near past. But it is said that because of climate change, the frequency of these cyclones may increase, or the fierceness of the cyclone will increase. But how to make the visitor feel about it? There we have used augmented reality. Here I would say that when a visitor stands there and he sees himself getting immersed under water, slowly but steadily, in two storm situations, like we have shown here, two storms like Nisarg and Yash. One is at the western end of our country and another is the eastern side. So every visitor can feel, and they feel like, oh my God, this is what is going to happen if another storm is coming in. That is our motto. Make the people understand that climate change is real and we need to work now. There we have used digital in a bigger manner. Now, when we have told the story, as my director has just said, that this section is divided into two components. One is the ground floor, where we have talked about these engaging stories about the challenges that the climate change is throwing upon us. But in the first floor, we talked about the science and the solutions. One of the solutions for any climate change is mitigation. We know that mitigation and adaptation are the two weapons or two swords that must be implemented now. So mitigation has got multiple steps. If we put up panels, nobody reads. If we put up multimedia, it becomes, the screen fatigue will come in, because in the first floor, in the ground floor, they have seen a lot of animations. So we introduce this, a digital wall, where wherever the visitor is tapping, the animation is triggering. So he becomes the part, he engages himself, he becomes a character of this wall, and the moment he taps, he is unfolding a story. That way, the visitor feels like, okay, this is me and I should do this. And that is what is shown here. Now, in any story that we are making, storytelling has got layers. It should attract to different levels of visitors. It should attract to kids, it should attract to adults, it should attract to serious visitors. For that, what we did is, we wanted to show the human impact of climate change using isotope study that is done, like C12 and C13 isotope study. That was simple technique that is being used multiple places, like we rotate the wheel and we'll see the animation. But in order to authenticate in a better manner, we have introduced two physical layers on the top, and they are representing the troposphere and the stratosphere. So you see that as you are moving the wheel, the troposphere changes color. So the color changing will trigger curiosity among our visitors, like why this change, and that will inspire him to know more about it. So that way, here the physical thing is aiding the digital stuff. That is the way we change the story here. And finally, one of the most liked exhibit is virtual plantation. Everybody talks about plantation, but repeatability is a problem, that how to inspire visitors to do it again and again and again. So for that, what we have done is, we have used projection, and we have given the visitor a choice of 3 options, like you plant this plant A or plant B or plant C, and the visitor chooses according to whatever he wanted to. And then he understands that as the plant is increasing, all the vitals of the plants is coming, like how much the plant can sequester carbon dioxide. So make a conscious choice. So these are some of the ways in which the digital intervention have been used just as a tool in this gallery, not as a master. Finally, we have got really good coverages from media. Our PR team, where Satyajit is working, they have really worked, they have contacted media, and there are more than 103 media houses which covered this story. We have got a good participation from the school, and these are the keywords that is coming up in this for this particular gallery. And inspired by this, these are some of the feedbacks and comments that you all can go through. That is what the visitors are talking about this gallery. That means that more and more participation is going on, and they feel attracted to come to this gallery. So based on the positive inputs that we have received from that, now Science City Kolkata is planning one big gallery on climate change at Ranchi. This is the overall view of Ranchi Science has been kept so that it becomes easily maintainable for everybody. So this is all from our end. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Shobha Shankar. I would request you to please tell what takeaway you want to take in your native language.
As I am Bengali, so I'll talk in Bengali. Curator হিসাবে আমার মনে হয় গল্প বলাটা সবথেকে জরুরি। গল্পের জন্য সবকিছু, অন্যের জন্য গল্প নয়। তাই আমরা গল্প বলতে ভালোবাসি, আমরা যেন গল্প বলতে থাকি। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thanks a lot.
इन हिंदी इसको कहते हैं कि मुझे लगता है हम लोग कहानी बोलते हैं और हमें कहानी बोलते जाना चाहिए। कहानी के लिए सब कुछ हो सकता है, दूसरे के लिए कहानी ना हो, यही मेरा कहना है। थैंक यू।
Thanks a lot, Shubhashankar Ghosh from Science City. And now I would request Dr. Piyush Joshi, the last speaker of this session, to please come and give his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the chair and the co-chair. And I would like to thank NCSM to provide this opportunity where I, Dr. Piyush Joshi, on behalf of UCOST and RSC, the Regional Science Center at Dehradun, is going to present before you about the challenges and what we are listening our last 2 days. And if with the permission of chair, if I can speak in Hindi, because it will give me a chance to explain much better. So I will be bilingual both way. So अगर मैं बात करूं कि मैं उत्तराखंड से हूं, तो आप लोग बहुत लोग उत्तराखंड से वाकिफ़ होंगे। अभी इससे पहले वाली प्रेजेंटेशन में ही आपको बताया गया था कि केदारनाथ डिजास्टर जो हुआ था वो कितना बड़ा त्रासदी थी उत्तराखंड के लिए नहीं, पूरी देश के लिए। तो उसको देखते हुए जैसे हम लोग ये देख रहे हैं कि इतनी सारी चीज़ें हमारी उसमें चल रही है, तो हम लोगों ने कोशिश की है कि उत्तराखंड का जो हमारा साइंस म्यूजियम है, जो कि NCSM ने बहुत ही प्यारा, बहुत अच्छा बना रखा है, वहाँ के विजिटर्स इसको बहुत अप्रिशिएट करते हैं। वहीं के नहीं, इंटरनेशनली हमारे नेपाल से हमारे विजिटर्स वहाँ फ्रीक्वेंटली विजिट करते हैं, तो उनके लिए भी ये बहुत अच्छी बात है, वहाँ के बच्चों के लिए भी बहुत अच्छी बात है। तो मैं आप लोगों को जस्ट, क्योंकि बहुत बात हो चुकी है कि हम लोग डिजिटल उसमें क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या उसकी चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ हैं उसके ऊपर, तो मैं क्विकली, क्योंकि टाइम ज़्यादा हो गया, तो मैं जस्ट आगे बढ़ना चाहूँगा। सो जैसे कि डिजिटल मीडिया की बात हम कर रहे हैं, रोल ऑफ साइंस म्यूजियम में डिजिटल इसका क्या तो है, उसमें म्यूजियम्स का एक अपना कॉन्सेप्ट है। साइंस म्यूजियम अपने आप में एक अलग चीज़ है। इसमें हम, जैसे कि पहले भी बोला गया है, डिजिटल मीडिया ओवर पावर नहीं करना चाहिए। डिजिटल मीडिया को यूज़ करते हुए साइंस म्यूजियम्स को बढ़ाने की हमें ज़रूरत है, ना कि डिजिटल मीडिया को हमें साइंस म्यूजियम में लाने की ज़रूरत है। क्योंकि उससे ऐसा होगा कि डिजिटल मीडिया को हम जो है डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म को हम घर बैठे भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि हमने कल परम कंप्यूटर्स उसमें देखा, 15 मिनट में हम सब कुछ बना के कर सकते हैं, कुछ भी एग्जिबिट्स बना सकते हैं। आने वाली जनरेशन्स में हमें जितने भी बच्चे हैं वो सब ये डिजिटल मीडिया, स्क्रीन टाइम्स और जो भी बात हुई सुबह, वो सब चीज़ें बच्चे करेंगे। लेकिन हमें म्यूजियम्स में ऐसी चीज़ें रखनी है जो कि हमें म्यूजियम, जो हमें साइंस म्यूजियम है, उसको हमें बचा के रखे, हमारे हिस्ट्री को, हमारे हैंड्स ऑन एक्सपीरियंस है उसको जीवित रखे, ताकि हम इसको और अच्छी तरह से यूज़ कर सकें। अब ओवरव्यू ऑफ डिजिटल मीडिया, टाइप्स ऑफ डिजिटल मीडिया की जैसे हमने बात करी कि बहुत सारे सोशल प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं जहाँ पर हम लोग आजकल की डिजिटल मीडिया यूज़ करते हैं अपने साइंस सेंटर्स को बढ़ावा देने के लिए। इसमें हमें जो है इवोल्यूशन और ट्रेंड्स को ध्यान में रखना है, कैसे कैसे डिजिटल मीडिया हम लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, कहाँ हम उसको लेके जाने वाले हैं, क्या चीज़ें हमें प्रेजेंट करनी है। बेसिक ऑब्जेक्टिव साइंस सेंटर्स का हमें उसको माइंड में रखते हुए हमें डिजिटल मीडिया का यूज़ करना है। और इंटीग्रेटिंग साइंस एजुकेशन, जो हमारी पुरानी ट्रेडिशनल टीचिंग मेथड्स हैं उनको भी हमें जीवित रखना है, और कैसे हम डिजिटल मीडिया का यूज़ करते हुए साइंस सेंटर्स में इसको आगे यूज़ करेंगे। अब बात करूं तो यूकॉस्ट RSC की, RSC में हम लोगों ने डिजिटल मीडियाज़ की कुछ इनिशिएटिव लिए हैं। हमारे जो DG हैं डॉक्टर दुर्गेश पंत सर, हमारे जो CM हैं धामी सर, वहाँ से हम लोगों को काफ़ी प्रेरणा मिलती है। हमारे गवर्नर सर हमें काफ़ी बढ़ावा देते हैं इन सब चीज़ों में। तो ये AI लैब हमने पिछले साल इनॉग्रेट करी थी। ये इंटेल टेक्नोलॉजी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड के सौजन्य से हमारे पास ये है, और इसमें हम लोगों ने जो बच्चे हैं उनको डिजिटल AI की बात हम बताते हैं कि AI क्या है, बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग AI क्या है। उसमें हमारे पास डिजिटल इन्होंने जो हमें अपनी कंटेंट दे रखे हैं उनके हम कोर्सेज करवाते हैं, ताकि बच्चों को AI के बारे में पता चल सके। और उसमें हम शॉर्ट टर्म कोर्सेज भी हम इसमें समर कैंप्स में इनवाइट करते हैं बच्चों को, तो वो आके करें। हमारे पास कुछ स्टेट्स हैं, जैसे कि बच्चे AI में हमने अभी तक कितने बच्चों को हम लोगों ने डिफरेंट मंथ्स में हम लोगों ने उनको इन्वॉल्व किया है, और वो इसको काफ़ी अच्छे उसमें लेते हैं। वो आते हैं और हमसे अभी भी काफ़ी आ रहे हैं कि आउट द समर कैंप्स के अलावा भी हमें कोर्सेज उसमें लेने हैं। तो स्कूल्स भी हमें अप्रोच कर रहे हैं कि कैसे हम इनके साथ टाई अप कर सकते हैं। वर्चुअल रियलिटी केओस की बात करते हैं, तो ये भी हमें लगभग 1 साल होने वाला है, तो लास्ट ईयर हमने इसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया था। ये जो हम बात कर रहे हैं डिजिटल मीडिया की, गेमिंग के बच्चों में कैसे हम उसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं, कैसे बढ़ावा दिया जा सकता है, तो ये एक तरह का इनिशिएटिव है जो हमने लिया है। इसमें बच्चे काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंगली पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं, उनको बड़ा मज़ा आता है। बस इसमें एक टाइम कंस्ट्रेंट है क्योंकि हमारा भीड़ इतनी ज़्यादा है, सो एवरीबडी कैन नॉट बी एसेस टू दिस वन। तो हम कोशिश करते हैं, तो बच्चों का जो छोटा ग्रुप है, देन वी कैन टेक टू डिजिटल दिस वन कियोस्क। स्टेम लैब की नेटवर्क की बात हो रही है, तो हमने पूरे प्रदेश में स्टेम लैब्स का एक नेटवर्क बिछाने की इसमें ठानी है, और इसमें से अभी तक हम लोगों ने 78 ब्लॉक्स, हमारे 95 ब्लॉक्स है, उसमें से 78 ब्लॉक्स में हम लोग स्टेम लैब्स पहुंचा चुके हैं। और ये हमने इसको नाम दिया स्टेम जिज्ञासा कक्ष, जिसमें हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि हम लोग जो गवर्नमेंट ऑफ एजुकेशन, हायर एजुकेशन, स्कूल एजुकेशन के साथ हमने टाई अप किया। इसमें हम लोगों ने क्या किया कि हमने स्कूल्स आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं जहाँ पर स्टेम लैब्स की लगाने की ज़रूरत है। वहाँ पर हम लोग मेंटरशिप हम दे रहे हैं, मेंटरशिप भी हम प्रोवाइड करा रहे हैं कि ऐसा ना हो कि हमने लैब्स खोल दी और लैब्स आपकी खुली है और वहाँ पर कुछ काम नहीं हो रहा है। खाली लैब शोकेस के लिए नहीं होने चाहिए, उसमें बच्चों को इन्वॉल्वमेंट जरूरी है, इसलिए हमने मेंटरशिप इसमें इंट्रोड्यूस करी है कि मेंटरशिप के साथ ये हम लोग करेंगे। और इसमें डिजिटल मीडिया का हम जो यूज़ कर रहे हैं, आप देखेंगे हम रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग करते हैं कि आज बच्चे, आज मेंटर कहाँ हैं, का क्या क्या हुआ है, कितने बच्चों ने ट्रेनिंग प्राप्त की है। इसका एक आइडिया मैं आपको देना चाहता हूँ। ये देखिए, हमने जो अभी तक टोटल इतने डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है, 10 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं, यहाँ हम अभी तक पहुँच चुके हैं। इतने स्कूल्स हमने अभी तक कवर किए हैं, स्टूडेंट्स हमने ट्रेनिंग इतनी दी है, और रियल टाइम डाटा मॉनिटरिंग हम उनकी करते रहते हैं कि आज कौन से स्कूल में क्या कंटेंट दिया है। इनका फीडबैक भी हम इनके प्रिंसिपल से और बच्चों से लेते रहते हैं ताकि इसको और इम्प्रूव किया जा सकते हैं। फाइंडिंग द गैप्स की कहाँ पर हमारे गैप्स हैं, वो भी हम इसमें आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं और इसको इम्प्रूवमेंट करते हैं। तो डिजिटल मीडिया का यहाँ हमने यूज़ किया है। हमने एक डिजिटल स्पेस भी क्रिएट किया है आपका आरएससी में। ये अपने आप में एक अलग इनिशिएटिव है जिसमें हम लोगों ने कोशिश की है कि हम वहाँ पर लाइब्रेरीज, एक ई लाइब्रेरी फॉर्म में हमने किया है, जिसमें हम लोग ई बुक्स, हम लोगों ने 5000 ई बुक्स है, ई जर्नल्स हम लोगों ने वहाँ पर इंट्रोड्यूस किए हैं। वर्ल्ड टेक्नोलॉजी बुक्स है जो हमारी डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स पे हैं, ये हमने अलग अलग साइंटिस्ट से रिव्यूज़ लेके उसके बाद फिर हम लोगों ने उनको इंट्रोड्यूस किया है। और इसमें हम लोगों ने क्या किया, जो वहाँ के इनोवेशन हब के मेंबर्स हैं उनके लिए फ्री रखा हुआ है। बाकियों के लिए वी आर जस्ट पुट की इनिशिएटिव की आप जो एंट्री फीस है वो एटलीस्ट पे करेंगे आरएससी की, सो दैट कि हम इसमें एक एजुकेशन हब, जैसा हम कल बोल रहे थे कि रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट में हम कैसे यूज़ कर सकते हैं, हमने इनिशिएट किया कि हम लैब तो नहीं बना सकते लेकिन हम जर्नल्स को वहाँ पर प्रोवाइड कर सकते हैं। ऑल्दो वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन अब आ गया है, तो हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि उससे भी इसको कनेक्ट करें ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा यूनिवर्सिटीज़ और बच्चों को इसका फ़ायदा मिल सके। अभी थोड़े दिन पहले बात हुई थी कि कम्युनिटी रेडियो की बात हुई थी, तो हमने लोकल लैंग्वेज में भी हमने कोशिश किया है कि कम्युनिटी रेडियो का पॉडकास्ट हम करें। जो हमारे एक्सपर्ट्स आते हैं विद इन उत्तराखंड, हम उनको इनवाइट करते हैं, उनसे पॉडकास्ट शूट करते हैं और उसको हम लोग जो है फिर इसमें डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करें, क्योंकि अभी ये हमें लाइसेंस अवेलेबल हो गया है और सून हम इसको जो है एयर करने वाले हैं। तो जैसे ही ये होता है तो इसमें हमारे क्या होगा कि जो हमारे दूरस्थ एरिया हैं, जो बॉर्डर एरियाज़ है, वहाँ तक हम इसकी रीच पहुँचा सकें और वहाँ पर हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे कि वहाँ तक साइंस अवेयरनेस, साइंस में क्या प्रोग्राम हम कर रहे हैं, क्या आने वाले समय में साइंस के इवेंट होने वाले हैं, वो सब चीज़ें हम आप सब लोगों को बता सकें। लैब्स ऑन व्हील एक अलग इनिशिएटिव है जो हम लोग ने लिया है। लैब्स ऑन व्हील में हमने होल 13 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स के लिए हमें सैंक्शन हुआ है लैब्स ऑन व्हील का प्रोग्राम। इसमें जिन एरियाज़ में हमारे बच्चों पे लैब्स अवेलेबल नहीं है, स्कूल्स के बहुत ऐसे हिली एरिया, हिली टेरेंट है, बहुत जगह लैब फैसिलिटीज़ नहीं होती है, हमने कोशिश किया है कि गवर्नमेंट की इनिशिएटिव से कि हम ये लैब्स जो है वहाँ तक पहुँचाएँ। अभी जैसे बात हो रही थी कि लैब ऑन व्हील में ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि एक बार लैब गई और वहाँ होके आ गई, उसका कोई इम्पैक्ट नहीं होता। हम लोगों ने स्कूल एजुकेशन के साथ इसको कोशिश करी है, जो उनका कोर्स कैरिकुलम है उसके साथ इसको टाई अप किया जाए और बच्चों को इसमें अराउंड 150 हैंड्स ऑन अलग अलग उसमें एक्सपेरिमेंट्स हैं, उनके साथ बच्चों को उनकी क्लासेस के साथ इसको मर्ज किया जाए। तो एटलीस्ट एक स्कूल में 8 से 10 क्लासेस इनकी होगी, अलग अलग टॉपिक्स पे, अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट्स पे। तो ये ईयर वाइज वैसे चलेंगे। इनका कॉन्सेप्ट हमने इसमें अगस्त्या फाउंडेशन को इन्वॉल्व किया है, उनकी मेंटरशिप, उसमें मेंटर्स रहते हैं, उसमें ट्रेनर्स रहते हैं, वो सब हमने इन्वॉल्व किया है। और इसमें भी हम रियल टाइम डाटा का वो यूज़ करते हैं कि बच्चे कहाँ पर हैं। टीचर्स को ट्रेनिंग दी जाती है, हमारे पास GS रौतेला सर हमारे पास हैं जो कि हमें टीचर्स ट्रेनिंग में काफ़ी हेल्प करते हैं। तो हमें इन चीज़ में काफ़ी सपोर्ट मिलता है। आप देख सकते हैं कि नंबर जुलाई 2024 का डाटा हमारे पास, जैसे कि देहरादून, पौड़ी, चंपावत 4 जगह पहले हमने इनिशिएट किया था, तो वहाँ पर कितने स्टूडेंट्स को इसका फ़ायदा मिल चुका है। अब सरकार ने उसको देखते हुए, इसकी ज़रूरत को देखते हुए इसको अब पूरे 13 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में ऑपरेट करने का निर्णय लिया है। लाइक अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ की बात हुई थी अभी ग्लोबल ऑडियंस, अगर हम डिजिटल मीडिया पे जाते हैं तो ग्लोबल ऑडियंस हमारे पास होगी। एसेसिबिलिटीज़ की बात करें तो इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी एक कंस्ट्रेंट रहता है, जहाँ पर हिल्स में बहुत जगह इंटरनेट कनेक्टिविटी नहीं होती है, लेकिन वहाँ भी हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि किसी तरह से जो है उसकी एसेसिबिलिटी हम वहाँ दे सकें। इफेक्ट ऑफ डिजिटल कम्युनिकेशन, ग्लोबल सेटिंग्स की हम बात कर रहे हैं, रिसोर्स एलोकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, इनहेंस यूजर इंटरफेस की बात कर रहे हैं। इसमें हम क्लियर हमारे मेजर्स होने चाहिए कि हम कैसे उसको यूज़ करेंगे, कहाँ पर हमारे गोल्स हैं, डिजिटल मार्केटिंग कहाँ तक हमें यूज़ करनी है। उसके बाद इसमें जो मेन कंस्ट्रेंट जो आता है बजट का आता है, जो कि पहले भी बताया स्पीकर ने कि बजट्स है, टूल्स है, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स हमें इसके लिए चाहिए। हमें ये नहीं कि किसी को भी हमने डिजिटल मीडिया में बैठा दिया, उसके लिए हमें ट्रेंड मैन पावर चाहिए, उसके लिए भी हमें अलग से बजट और पोस्ट का एलोकेशन करना पड़ेगा। गैदरिंग और एनालिसिस जो भी हम एयर कर रहे हैं या हम सोशल मीडिया में डाल रहे हैं, उसका क्या फीडबैक है, वो भी बहुत ज़रूरी है अपने आप में। हमने जो फीडबैक लिया है उसके आधार पर हम उसको इम्प्रूवमेंट कर सकते हैं। तो डिजिटल मीडिया की ये कुछ स्ट्रेटेजीज हम यूज़ करेंगे। इंगेजमेंट और इंटरेक्टिव की बात कर रहे हैं तो कंटेंट्स जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, हम क्या कंटेंट लेके जा रहे हैं, सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म कौन सा यूज़ कर रहे हैं, मल्टीमीडिया प्रेजेंटेशंस में हम उसको कैसे यूज़ कर रहे हैं। नॉर्मली जैसे यूट्यूब से इसमें हमने अपनी वीडियोस अपलोड करते हैं, इंस्टाग्राम्स में रील। अभी इन्फ्लुएंसर की बात की, ये भी बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है कि इन्फ्लुएंसर भी हमें बहुत ज़रूरी है। हमने अपने रील्स में बहुत जगह देखा है, जो हमारे विजिट करने आते हैं बच्चे, बहुत लोग रील्स शूट करने के लिए कहते हैं, उसका भी हमें काफ़ी इम्पैक्ट मिलता है। उनके भी बहुत अच्छे फैंस फॉलोइंग्स हैं, वो भी हमें इंगेज करने में हेल्प करते हैं। अब ऑडियंस इंगेजमेंट का डिजिटल लिटरेसी की बात कर रहे हैं। हर कोई उस लेवल तक एजुकेटेड नहीं होता है कि आप उसको कैसे यूज़ करना है, तो इसको बेस्ट है कि सिंपल वीडियो फॉर्म्स में और इंटरेक्टिव फॉर्म में हम आपको ऑडियंस को अपने इसको दें। ओवरलोड नहीं होना चाहिए डाटा का, ये नहीं कि हम डेली कुछ वीडियो डाल रहे हैं डेली, ये तो उससे कि इतना ओवरलोड हो जाएगा कि हम उसको आगे कैसे यूज़ कर सकें। बच्चों में ओवरलोडिंग नहीं होनी चाहिए, खासकर ऑडियंस में हमें देखते हुए। और यूज़र इंटरेक्शन हमें करना है, कुछ ऐसे प्लेटफॉर्म हमें यूज़ करना है जिसमें हम फीडबैक आराम से उनसे ले सकें और उसमें इंप्रूवमेंट कर सकें। अब चैलेंजेस जो बात करें, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करने की, क्वालिटी ऑफ डिजिटल मीडिया हमारा कैसा होना चाहिए, इंटरनेट एसेस, हार्डवेयर कंपोनेंट्स हमारे पास प्रॉपर होने चाहिए डिजिटल मीडिया को यूज़ करने के लिए। एक्सपर्टाइज, स्किल, मैन पावर की मैंने जो बात करी, डिजिटल स्किल उनके पास होनी चाहिए। कंटेंट क्रिएट, क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस और रिलेवेंस अप्रोप्रिएट, जो आप कंटेंट डालें वो अप्रोप्रिएट होना चाहिए। वो ये नहीं होना चाहिए आपने कुछ भी कंटेंट डाल दिया, या हर किसी को ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कुछ भी कंटेंट डाल दे, उससे आपकी और रीजनल साइंस सेंटर जिस पे आप उसकी बदनामी हो सकती है। इसलिए इट शुड बी अवेयर कि आप क्या चीज़ डाल रहे हैं और वो ऑथेंटिक होनी चाहिए। अब मॉनिटरिंग की बात करें, डिजिटल मीडिया आपने यूज़ कर लिया, उसकी मॉनिटरिंग के लिए आपके कंटेंट मॉनिटर करना जरूरी है, पब्लिक रीच जरूरी है, उसके लिए फीडबैक और रिजल्ट। जैसे हम लोगों ने बहुत सारी इंस्टाग्राम फॉलोअर्स भी यूज़ किए हैं, हम लोग सोशल मीडिया यूज़ करते हैं समर कैंप्स के लिए, इनोवेशन हब के लिए, अलग अलग उसके लिए हम इसमें आप देखिए कि अलग अलग रीच है। एक हमारा इंसाइट हमारा है जिसमें हम लोग 23,000 तक हम रीच कर चुके हैं। अलग अलग उसमें प्लेटफॉर्म से हम लोग गए हैं, जैसे इंस्टाग्राम का मैं आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, तो इससे हमें काफ़ी रीच मिलती है, ऑडियंस आती है। बस ये है कि हमें उनको एक्सपेक्टेशंस पे जो चीज़ हम दिखा रहे हैं, जो चीज़ हम बोल रहे हैं, वो चीज़ें आपके सामने होनी चाहिए। हमने पता चला कुछ अनाउंस कर दिया, हम नहीं कर पा रहे, तो दैट शुड बी नॉट डन इन दैट वन, कि हमें उसके लिए तैयार रहना चाहिए कि हम कैसे, क्योंकि ये ओपन मीडिया है, इसमें आपसे इंटरेक्शन भी होगा, आपकी खिंचाई भी हो सकती है, तो यू शुड बी ओके विद दैट कि आपके पास उसका जवाब होना चाहिए कैसे उस चीज़ों को टैकल करना है। अब मैं बात करता हूँ कि हम उत्तराखंड में हम लोग साइंस सेंटर्स का कैसे हम जाल फैला रहे हैं, पूरे उत्तराखंड में हम कैसे जा रहे हैं। जो साइंस सिटी अपकमिंग साइंस सिटी है, ये एनसीएसएम के साथ हम लोग कर रहे हैं, एनसीएसएम इसमें हमें मदद कर रहा है, पूरा एनसीएसएम इसको पूरा डेवलप कर रहा है। तो इसमें ये हमारा देहरादून में जहाँ रीजनल साइंस सेंटर है उसके साथ ही अपग्रेडेशन हो रहा है, तो ये काम शुरू हो चुका है। मानसखंड विज्ञान केंद्र जो कि सब रीजनल साइंस सेंटर है अल्मोड़ा में, उसका उद्घाटन 10 मार्च को किया जा चुका है। चंपावत में जो साइंस सेंटर है, साइंस सेंटर की लोकप्रियता को देखते हुए स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने इनिशिएट लिया है कि वो एक साइंस सेंटर अभी स्टार्ट किया है उन्होंने चंपावत में, और उसके लिए अच्छी खासी हमें फंडिंग मिली है। ऑल्दो वी हैव अप्रोच एनसीएसएम की, उसमें हमें हेल्प मिले क्योंकि एनसीएसएम की बहुत अच्छी एक्सपर्टाइज है, लेकिन ड्यू टू ओवरलोड सर ने कहा है कि अभी आप इसको करिए, वी विल सी कि अगर हम आगे उसमें हेल्प कर सकते हैं। उसके अलावा हम 10 डिस्ट्रिक्ट साइंस सेंटर्स, क्योंकि 3 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में हमारे ऑलरेडी साइंस सेंटर्स आ चुके हैं, अब जो बाकी बचे 10 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हैं उसमें भी हम जल्द ही अपने साइंस सेंटर्स इस्टेब्लिश करने जा रहे हैं। शासन से परमिशन मिल चुकी है, ज़मीन ढूंढी जा रही है, जैसी ये फाइनल होती जाएगी हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं साल भर में 4 से 5 साइंस सेंटर्स स्मॉल साइज़ के हम वहाँ स्टार्ट करें। लैब ऑन व्हील्स 13 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में हमारी स्टार्ट हो चुकी है। AI लैब हमारी ऑलरेडी है, हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि इसको जैसे हमारे साइंस सेंटर डेवलप होंगे सब जगह हम अपनी AI की रीच, AI की लैब हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में पहुंचाएंगे। 95 STEM labs ऑलरेडी हम प्रोसेस में हैं, 78 वीक अचीव कर चुके हैं, हम जल्दी 95 इस ईयर में हम कंप्लीट कर लेंगे। और हमारा डीजी सर का एक इनिशिएटिव है कि वो इस साल जो है 10,000 डिजिटल एंटरप्रेन्योर क्रिएट करने के उद्देश्य से इस साल काम कर रहे हैं। तो हम उत्तराखंड में काफ़ी कुछ आप देखेंगे आने वाले समय में डिजिटलाइज होने जा रहा है। सो ये हमारा आउटकम। यू कैन रीच अस टू अस, QR code is there for our website, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email, everything is there. And lastly, thank you very much taking the legacy forward to the next generation. So I hope you like the presentation, and if any queries, I will be happy to. Thank you very much.
धन्यवाद पीयूष जी। ये बहुत हर्ष का विषय है कि बहुत सारे स्टेट्स जहाँ पर NCSM ने एक बीज बोया वो एक बड़ा वृक्ष का रूप ले रहा है। उत्तराखंड इज़ नो एक्सेप्शन। It's very heartening to see how you are using not only your expertise but also your digital outreach to reach to the very difficult terrains of Uttarakhand. Thank you very much for your presentation. With this, we come to an end of this particular presentation session. I don't know whether we have time for discussions. Mr. Rajiv Nath will be able to tell. 10 minutes. So I would request the speakers, Mr. Pramod Grover, Mr. Manas Bagchi, Mr. Arnab Chatterjee, Mr. Shatadal Ghosh, Mr. Gunaka, Mr. Saket Singh Kaurav, Mr. Shubhashankar Ghosh and Mr. Piyush Joshi to please come on the stage. If we can have some more handheld mics.
Hello.
तो खड़े-खड़े ये सेशन कर लेते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. So you have seen some great presentations, some very informative presentations. I would now throw the floor open for the audience if they have any questions. And we'll request the AV team to give mic to those who are interested in asking questions. Yes, please. Mr. Parikh from Gujarat Science City.
Thank you, sir. My first question to Pramod, sir. Sir, you explained everything properly, but I want to know that. So that upgradation or changing system, how are you doing that process? I want to know that process. Like you have shown that 2019 and then this year. So I want to know that process, what type of meetings you are making and how you are giving work to the curators, all that.
See, this. Hello? Yeah, this process we have been following for quite a long period. It's not a new one for us, but still you have asked, I'll let you know. Because whenever we have some galleries which are there for quite a long period, we think of upgradation, we have brainstorming session among the curators, right? So we have so many sessions that may be in the center, which requires an upgradation, and if required, we may call the other curators from other centers, right? So we have workshops which are conducted by CRTL. That is one point. Now the thing is, you need to focus what you want to do. So like if you had something which requires upgradation, you need to now work out and think what you want to do exactly, right? Which technology you want to adopt, and then accordingly you fix the budget. Once your budget, you have a DPR, right? So that DPR is forwarded by the headquarter to the ministry. So headquarter plays an important role. All the DPRs are there with the headquarters of NCSM. So once it goes to the ministry, then we have to wait for the approval because fund is very important. Without fund, you cannot do anything, And now sometimes it happens that if you have your own revenue, then you are not bothered about the fund. You can process, like in case of Science City, we always used to do, because we are having the revenue. So if fund is available, we can keep on doing the small upgradations, but for big ones, you require funding from the ministry. So funding is very important. And once funding is done, now you need to execute that proposal. You need to have a team who will be doing it. You need to follow all the processes which are there in our government rules, GFR, tendering process, everything. So you have to go through a very long process.
Okay, so in that, sir, are you making one plan A, B, C, or only like suppose you are doing the
See, you know what happens is it's not a plan A, B, C.
Okay.
Once you do plan A, get modified and go to maybe D, E, F, right?
Okay,
So we
okay.
start with an initial plan, and
Okay.
through iterations, you go to a final plan, maybe
Right.
Z,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, any other question? Yeah, Mr. Kapil Jain. Mr. Sudhanshu Sharma, you.
It's not exactly a question related to you, but my question is how many of you have, because a lot of you have the science STEM labs in your support system, especially I've heard 3 of you speak about it. How many of you know about World Robot Olympiad? Okay.
World
gives
Robot
me,
Olympiad.
That gives me food for my presentation. Thank you.
How many of you know about World Robot Olympiad? In fact, I think NCSM people must be knowing because we have been partners all through. About rest, I'm not sure. Okay. Yeah, Kapil.
Actually, my question is from all the members on the dais that since NCSM particularly, we have different science centers in different regions, in district level, regional level, and the national level. And when we talk about the challenges of science centers in digital era, do you see that would these challenges are different for different segment of the science centers? And if it is so, how we can deal these challenges in different regions?
Well, who would like to take? Let your director answer.
Well, I'm not like him. He is a very democratic and mild person. I'm a very autocratic one. So for me, actually, there is no difference. And I never ever care for the budget and all that. If I have to make a gallery, if we have to make a gallery, for me, this story is of utmost importance. Whether it is in DSC or RSC or Science City or anywhere, that doesn't really make much difference for me personally. So I first try to fix what we need to make. And for that, whatever it takes, I try to do. And particularly, one who is in trouble is Director General, because he knows I'll go to him and ask for any abnormal amount of money, and I keep on pressing. Regarding his answer, I would like to add one more thing. Yes, the brainstorming and taking people on board, it is extremely important. But before that, I personally prefer one more thing. I don't go for a discussion on the open ground immediately at the beginning itself. Because I believe there is a difference between Karl Popper's philosophy and Bacon's philosophy, whereas Bacon says just you take the data and then try to find a pattern out of it. Popper says you never get a pattern unless you have a pattern in your mind. So I try to first create my own story and then only I discuss. I don't believe in crowdsourcing of this story from one and all and every other place. So I go with one of my own ideas. That may be refuted altogether. I'm open to it, but I definitely go with my own story. Thank you.
Yeah, to add to what you asked Kapil, in fact, NCSM had taken an initiative that all its curators will come up with ideas, with the gallery ideas. And those who come up with the best gallery ideas will get funds. So there, the disparity of regional science center and district science center and national science center blurs. Because if the district science center gives a good proposal, the district science center gets funds. The basic challenge in the tier system is to give funds to the smaller centers. But if the ideas are good, you will get fund.
Kapil, if you remember that when I was in CATL, we initiated that setting up of knowledge of sphere in your center. So it is, DG is very generous in that way in giving the fund. There is no paucity of funds. The proposal must come from your side. Whether you're a small center or a big center, you must initiate the process. DG is always there to give you the fund.
Yeah, any other question from anyone? So, Mr. Kumar, the DDG.
Manas told that this 20 minutes is good to set screen fatigue. Now, how do you explain about when you see a movie and people sit there for 1 hour and repeat? Similarly, in our digital theaters, they sit for half an
Sir,
hour,
in
40
this
minutes.
case, the study that I referred to,
yeah,
they have given a very nice example. They said when you see a movie, they iron out all the impressions of the technology. So you see the story only. In fact, when you see the movie first, you even never know where the camera has been placed, whether it's a dolly, whether it's a trolley, whether it's a zoom or whatever. They are all smoothed out. But when we go for presenting scientific stories, their inner concentration is so high that you need certain amount of involvement to go with it. So that is why Smithsonian found out in its story that scientific stories are difficult to position. And that is why they say that 20 minutes limit, they didn't limit it actually. They said 20 minutes is a time when it can create the fatigue. So we need to take some effort to push it some more so that the content can be represented accordingly. I think good editing, some movies you see and after 10 minutes you feel, I can't see it anymore. That has to be rejected. And some you see for 3 hours. So that's the difference perhaps.
Well,
and
the
I don't
average-
think, and people repeat that show even after half an hour also. So is it the content of the content? Because technology is there behind everything which is there. Even with the specs also, even with the 3D specs also.
The difference you can observe when you see Voyager and Australia's Great Wild North.
Yeah,
Am I right?
so
So it all depends on the content, basically.
Content. So I think the base point is that content we are talking about
Is
digital
very
goes
important. Is very
behind that.
important.
Sir, actually, the study shows that it's a mean. So there are content means. So they can.
I would like to add something, Sharadal. It's a fact I have seen when you give a comfort level which is of quite high, like you have a AC, a reclining chairs, and people even in that 20 minutes they have a nap, fine nap, I have seen, right? So even the 20 minutes also they don't see. You're talking of 30 minutes, maybe they are sitting and in the theater, but बीच में 5 minutes सो जाता है वो. Yeah. कम का क्या है?
Okay, but I must congratulate this team because we have a lot of examples from science centers which are not under NCSM, but they are actually doing very good work with their stakeholders using some digital
Sir,
technology.
here I would like to mention one interesting story that I learned when I first joined the council from Mr. D.K. Pathak. You remember Dilip Pathak in BITM. I first learned to demonstrate planetarium from him. So he used to come and say that, you know, normally we go to planetaria where this SE reclining chair and all that are beautiful. The cushions are nice, very cozy and comfortable. but people sleep after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But here in my small tent, nobody sleeps. You know why so? And we all said, sir, what is that? And he said, मैं हूं ना, कहानी मैं बताऊंगा, बात तो मैं करूंगा तुमसे. So if the human element is there, if the connection, conversation and touch is there, time is not the issue.
It's again content. So,
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
I think we have already overshot the time. Yeah, another question, please. Let this be the last question.
So, good afternoon, everyone. So, how National Science Center promote their content for young minds?
How national science centers promote
Their young minds.
young minds? Sakir, you like?
I think, once again, thank you for your wonderful question. It depends on how we communicate and engage. Human element is very critical. The way school visitors come, and we need to have some interaction while putting them on gallery tour or something like some shows. So what we observe, if we are not guiding teachers or students, they will go their own, and teachers are hurrying them. Please finish, finish, finish. We have limited time. Let's go back, because school has to close. So avoiding that, now we are intervening and we are trying to engage them. So school students are getting more engaging experiences, while school teachers putting pressure a lot. Then we say, we will talk to your principal or your authority, please let them enjoy. So I think youngster needs connects and the language also. And above all, content is the hero. So we need to be respected for that. Thank you.
Sir, I am
One more thing.
just take over.
I
No,
just
I am
want to.
I'm trying to know the colleges students or not. I'm not asking the school young mind.
See, like sir has already answered, we are also trying to engage the students on the basis of the days and the events which are going to come. Innovation Festival, National Innovation Festival, Science Festival, Maths Olympiad, these all things are the round the clock we are working on that. Apart from that, college student, we have tried our side, we have opened the digital library, pushing up the e-journals, giving the subscription, books and all that. So we are trying to build up the college student as well as so that they can come and learn from there. So this we are trying our.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Very last, sir, very half sentence. What we have observed in our council, we organize night sky observation sessions. But most of the time what we observe, just immediately we allow visitor to see through the telescope and go back. Until or unless we are having a dialogue or discourse about the sky or that day, that changes their perspective. Even the college groups in our science center, they have larger interest in conversation than seeing. Then later on we allow telescope for them. So that's how we can engage or improve the engagement.
So basically keep doing activities. Well, Mr. Vijay Shankar wants to ask one question. Oh, you want to
No, I think most of the answer is answered. In fact, I have a request which I forget. Just to add, how do you engage? I personally feel planetarium, I mean, of all the other things which is already discussed, planetarium is one critical thing which to attract more and more our repeated users, repeated visitors. But it's again to request to NCSM. Currently, I feel the content is saturated. We have the same content. Maybe these may be technological issues. I don't know the details. If NCSM can make efforts, new contents, because planetarium is a experience-based this one where we can keep calling the students if new contents gets raised. So not an answer, a request to NCSM. Kindly.
I'll add because content. If you're talking of content, CRTL just started now, and we have a full dome content which will be ready maybe by next month. And even Delhi has a in-house full dome theater maybe which will be ready for inauguration, right? So that Vijay Shankar initiated in Delhi, and now maybe I'll be closing it. So maybe it's a complete in-house package, even dome, projection system and film.
A very general feeling about this attracting the young minds. What I have felt working in various organizations, various institutions at various levels. Once you start treating the students like kids, be they in college or in schools, there is a sense of alienation. Normally हमारे अंदर एक feeling है कि ये बच्चों के लिए है, थोड़ा simple किया जाए, थोड़ा dilute किया जाए. I never try that. I try to treat them as adults, and as much as an adult as I am. I felt that they feel honored and they feel connected immediately. So my suggestion is कि before thinking कि ये बच्चों के लिए है, खुद के लिए बना के देखिए, एक बार try कीजिए उनको exactly same way present करने के लिए. I think it's a good connect.
I need to take this question as a last question because the time is very less. So please, Vijay Shankar, go ahead.
My congratulations to all the speakers. This session was really, really very rich. And special thanks to Mr. Gunanka in the fact that he has been very successful in... Are you getting? No. So he has been very successful despite his limited resources. He could arrange for the funds in bringing the student from the remotest to the area of Meghalaya to the Shillong Science Center. I read, I forget, I see, I remember, I do, I understand. This is the premise we have been working on. Now, some of my colleagues today and yesterday also, they were emphasizing upon the social media. So my question is, are we doing any effort to convert the triggers on the social media to converting those to the physical visits? And number one, whether those efforts are required at all or not, and if required, what are the efforts we should take in this regard?
Anybody?
Sir, not only social media, we have got a lot of inputs from my director, and what we are doing presently at Science City, which has really helped in increasing the footfall, especially among the school students and others, is that whoever is responding to us, saying something about us, immediate answering is given in order to give them a sense of importance that your view matters to us. That is point one. And point two is that we are regularly now sending mails to each and every school within a 50-kilometer radius who can really come up to us. We are now coordinating with SSM, like Sharpa Shiksha Mission, and we are making customized events for them, like National Blind Day or for women empowerment. We get a lot of new kind of visitors. They feel empowered that yes, this science center is a part of their life. So I think that has really helped, and people wanted to know what more is coming up. That curiosity is really helping us.
Yeah, to add to it, it's very important to respond to the social media responses that you get. Very important. And especially if you are getting bad reviews. In fact, I send screenshots of bad reviews to my colleagues almost every morning. And not only that, I respond to the bad reviews very frequently, because that is very important. If you are able to connect to the people who are watching your social media, then probably that establishes a contact. It may not in fact convert into the direct footfall, but definitely it gives the visitors a sense of ownership.
Sir, actually, one paper I have published with the research that for Science City, that direct visitor for the Science City YouTube channel is maybe 100 per day. But when a vlogger repeats the video on Science City, that gets 1,000 visiting, what I have calculated, 1,000 per day. So while calculating our visitor figure, we never concentrate on that part. But we have concluded that if we consider that inviting that blogger and we can connect through them, that will also give a huge social media presence that can give, because the statistics is showing like that. So I have calculated for on an average in CSM that Science City gets 4,000 visitor average through 90 that channel, and that is the thing. So we normally ignore that part. We only calculate while giving our digital footfall, we all calculate our channel, but that is not all. There are others channel who are doing that research. Yes, that is actually very important. One paper is also published on that.
Yeah, just to add with that, Google has a ranking philosophy. Google always follows the ranking in this way. Suppose I have a website and I am referred by the website whose ranking is high, then my ranking goes higher. So it is the same thing. When others talk about us, our ranking goes higher and our acceptance is much higher than that. So I think we should make an effort rather than always trumpeting our own drum that we have done this, we have done that. If others can be inspired to talk about us, that gives a better result.
Great. Thanks a lot to the great panelists who have given a very interactive session. With this, we break for, okay, so let there be a photograph of the group photograph of the session. And then after that, we break for a very quick tea session, and then we come back here. Thank you.